Jadeja over the wicket bowls. A root goes for the first sweep. They're going to go for it. And England have recorded their highest ever score to win a test match. And they've done it with consummate ease, with ridiculous ease. And 3 months ago, this was a team that didn't believe it could beat anybody. And they've trounced the world champions 3-0. And they've now beaten India.
Well, what a feeling there is around English cricket. The Ben and Baz revolution, leaving us all re-evaluating what's possible in the red ball game. Now it is over to Matthew Mott and Joss Butler to show what the white ball side can do. 12 England men's matches over the course of the next month, starting with the first of 3 T20 internationals against India. We're live from the Ageas Bowl with the sun shining over Southampton. And we're all set for the first home international white ball cricket of the summer. They have played in the Netherlands, of course, this England side in 350 over matches, getting to the cusp of 500 as well. But here we are at home for the first time with Joss Butler replacing Owen Morgan as the England white ball captain and taking charge of his troops for the very first time. Alongside me, former India international Deepak Hooda and also a veteran of 69 T20 internationals, Stephen Finn. Finny, hello to you first of all. There is such a buzz around the English game at the moment.
There is certainly a buzz around the English game at the moment. It's so exciting to see that the way that this white ball team has evolved over the last 7 years or so is now eking its way into Test match cricket, and there certainly is the buzz of the crowd and the people who want to come and watch an exciting India team take on this England team who in their own conditions here at the Ageas Bowl will hopefully put on a show.
Well, Deep, after the chaos of the Test match, it'd be nice to calm down a bit with the T20 international.
Yeah, funny you say that, but actually it seems like that.
It does feel a bit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this is the format where it should be played that way. But having said that, this is, I mean, for India, preparation for the World Cup starts from here on, because last 6-8 months there have been quite a few players who've played for India in the T20 format, roughly around 30-35 at least. So I think the whole shortlisting process has to start now. We've just got about 3 months to go for the World Cup. So yeah, I mean, and again, the confusing part is for the first T20I, the team which went to Ireland predominantly is going to play, and then from the next T20I onwards, it's going to be, people will be joining in, that guys who were playing Test match cricket will be joining in.
Well, exactly. The likes of Rishabh Pant, Jasprit Bumrah, Virat Kohli, all back for the second and third T20s. But the teams look like this. India have won the toss. They're going to have a bat first. They line up with Rohit Sharma, who's back after missing the Test match with COVID. He's back at the top of the order alongside Ishan Kishan, Deepak Hooda, Suryakumar Yadav, who fans of the IPL will know all about what he can do, Hardik Pandya, Dinesh Karthik, who was out of the side for 3 years or so, but has become the preferred keeper in the last couple of months. He returns. Akshar Patel, Harshal Patel, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Arshdeep Singh gets a debut. Seam bowler, who, again, fans of the IPL will know all about. And Yuzvendra Chahal, the wrist spinner. England, Joss Butler's England, line up like this. Jason Roy and Joss Butler at the top of the order. David Malan, who was the leading T20 international batter not so long ago. Liam Livingston. Harry Brook plays for the second time in England colours. Moeen Ali, Sam Curran, Chris Jordan. Jamal Mills is back after a toe injury. Matt Parkinson and Reece Topley. So the three to miss out for England: Gleeson, Salt and Willie, all missing out. There's a lot of talent in that lineup. First with England, Finny, there's just an awful lot of power, but for me, the bowling, that's perhaps where the question is.
Yeah, I think it's been quite noticeable that in the last few weeks that death bowling's been talked about a lot within the England camp. I think not just from the media and people watching on. I think it's been openly discussed by them in the media that that's something that they need to start turning their eye towards nailing before they get to the T20 World Cup later on this year. So I think certainly the top end of the innings and the middle, I think, has been pretty settled and sorted, but these games here are going to be the start of a process of trying to work out who England's absolute bankers are at the death, and I'd imagine today with the powerful Indian batting lineup that we're going to see, that's going to be really challenged.
Deep, you a little surprised to see India batting first, allowing England to chase?
Kind of. Yeah, after winning the toss, generally in this format you want to chase down, but then I guess what has happened in at least the last three T20 eyes versus South Africa. India batted first, batted well, and that's the other aspect there. India has kind of struggled in last few years batting first and getting to a power score and try and understand what a power score would be on different conditions. I guess that's also part of the whole preparation for the World Cup, it seems. And like I said, last 3 games India won batting first. I guess they've got something going there.
When we started this summer, we thought it would be Owen Morgan leading England, building towards the T20 World Cup, possibly the 50-over World Cup next year. But everything has changed. He's decided to hand over the reins after a long time in charge of the white ball setup. You think back to 2015, that World Cup in the 50-over format feels a very long time ago when Owen Morgan took over. But he has decided to retire from international cricket. So Joss Butler is the new man in charge. I caught up with him yesterday here at the GS Bowl and got his thoughts on the excitement around English cricket.
The Test team has been great to watch over the last few weeks. Not only getting the results, but the style in which they're playing has been amazing to watch. You find yourself, glued to the telly, and if you can't watch the telly, you want the radio on to listen as well. So it's been fantastic to watch. So good to see all those guys, getting the success they deserve.
Any sense of, wish I was there?
I think there is for everyone, isn't it? It looks a hell of a lot of fun, which has probably been one of the big factors that it sounds like they've reminded themselves about, just what an honour and privilege it is and how much fun they can have playing cricket, and sort of not worrying too much about the results, and actually the results have come via doing that. So I think it's a great reminder for us. It's something that, when you look back to 2015, it was something we had a bit of a sea change as to how we wanted to play, and if anything, it's just a reminder for the white ball teams that it's exactly the way we want to play our cricket as well.
When Ben took over the Test side, he was taking over a team struggling. You're taking over a team that is widely regarded as the best in the world. How are you finding that transition? How excited are you for this journey?
Yeah, really excited. Obviously, stepping into Owen Morgan's shoes has left the team in a fantastic place, and so there's not much I feel at the moment needs changing, to be honest. There's great strength in English cricket, in white ball. There's a lot of strength and depth. I think I see the game in exactly the same way as Owen. I want us to be positive and aggressive and take the game on. So in that sense, it's about how can we find little areas to keep driving that forward. And I think everyone, in the team and in the support staff and everyone around the group is accountable for how we can, keep pushing the boundaries.
Have you spoken to Owen? Has there been a handover?
I'll always speak to Owen. He's one of my closest mates, and he only lives just round the corner, actually. So he's someone who I know I could always ask for advice or lean on, and at times I'll see him with nothing to do about cricket either. So it's great to know that someone who was the best captain I've ever played for, and I think lots of people share that, what a great cricket mind and stuff he is. It's great to know that if I need to, I could ask him some questions.
What is the imprint you want to leave on this side, to put on this side in terms of how they play?
To be honest, I don't think it's not really about me, and I think I want us to play in exactly the same fashion. I want us to be really positive, really aggressive, not afraid of failure, and I think actually the way white ball cricket is now, and actually say English cricket as a whole, but there's a clear identity that I think it's going to outlast Owen, it's going to outlast me, and it will outlast whoever follows on from me as well, I believe. And I think there's a really clear identity for us as to how we play as a group, and I don't see that ever going backwards. I see some people just trying to take that even further forwards.
There's a lot of significant white ball cricket in the next 12 months or so. What are your expectations?
Yeah, I think expectations are high for us as a group, and we've worked hard to get in a position where expectations are high. I think, like you said, T20 World Cup is not far away, so we want to build towards that. Through availability and the schedule and a few injuries, there's going to be chances for players to put their hand up and get opportunities, which is exciting because I feel like that develops the strength of the squad. It pushes guys to perform, and we've seen the benefits of that over a number of years for us. So I think there's going to be opportunities, but still the expectations are always high because we've worked hard to be in a position to be a team that is well fancied.
What are you expecting from India during this series?
Yeah, again, really tough challenge. And I think any time you play against India, what a fantastic squad they have. There's so much strength and depth and talent in Indian cricket, and when you're there at the IPL, it's very obvious just how much strength and depth there is in their squad. So they're well accustomed to playing lots of T20 cricket. They know the format very well. I expect a great series, to be honest.
And just finally, Joss Butler, England captain. Is this a dream that's been hanging around for years, decades?
Probably not, especially playing for England was 100%. Becoming captain is not something you always think about, but when you say those words, it's a fantastic honour to be able to do it, and I'm really excited to get the chance to do it. Really excited to follow on from Owen and try and continue that sort of legacy that everyone's built and he's really built in English cricket. So it's a great honour.
Well, that was Joss Butler chatting to me yesterday here at the Ageas Bowl ahead of the start of England men's white ball summer. The new captain. A slightly easier leadership transition than possibly others at the moment, Finney, but you look at the way that this England side has been in white ball cricket recently and the way that they have played. Is it an easy job? Just say, go on boys, you know what you're doing, head on out there.
I think with how settled the team is and the way that they've been able to identify talent that is coming into the team, then it suggests it should be an easy transition. But always when you're following in the footsteps of someone who's been a great captain, and I think it's not an argument or a debate as to whether Owen Morgan has been a great captain or not. I think sometimes you may feel the pressure to follow on from that, but knowing Joss as I do, and knowing his approach to cricket, and as we heard him speak there, he's so softly spoken, but he's so astute when it comes to breaking down and managing games of cricket, and he'd have been there as Owen Morgan's right-hand man over the last 7 years that he's been playing in the team with him, and would have been part of the process of picking players, making decisions on the pitch. So that transition will be easier, and I don't think Joss is the sort of person who will take over the captaincy and believe that he has to rewrite the script or do things his own way too much. I think he'll be quite happy to tag on and roll on the back of what Owen Morgan's achieved whilst putting his own spin on things as he goes on and develops his captaincy.
You'd agree with that, Deep?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, this is almost the same squad, the same team that's just been playing together for the last 4 or 5 years now. I think you don't really need to reinvent the wheel, and especially when the wheel's doing so well. So absolutely no reason. And again, someone like Joss Butler, whatever I've seen him even during IPL and all, he just comes across as someone, for example, this IPL, first few games he had a really good run. Then there was this lean period, and then he kind of reinvented himself, and you could see, he changed his game plan and stuff. That just tells you that obviously he's extremely astute in terms of reading the game and recalibrating if required. But as far as this English team is concerned, it's on autopilot to a great extent.
What about India as a side? What are the expectations? Because disappointment in that T20 World Cup in the UAE last year.
I won't say disappointment. I mean, obviously it was, because obviously it didn't qualify even for the semis. But the idea is the silver lining in those dark clouds was the fact that India changed their approach towards T20 cricket. I think for the longest time, India kind of played T20 on that 50-over format. The approach was very conservative, old school. But since, I think India has changed their approach a bit. They're looking to be a lot more aggressive. And last 6-8 months, there are a couple of areas that they've improved, especially in terms of batting and batting first. Middle overs, boundary hitting and all that stuff. I think that's changing. That's like in work in progress. And that's exactly what I would like to see is one, keep changing that approach and keep walking that path and see where it takes you. And also, start kind of shortlisting. Like I said, I mean, there is a lot of depth. We keep talking about it, but the flip side is, well, you've got to kind of start being a little harsh to some of those and say, sorry, but this is the 15 or 16 and this is predominantly the main squad, but because it's about time we start doing it.
Well, the players are heading out. The flames have shot up around the edge of the boundary. And Finney, before we let you go, and you'll be back with us shortly, this ground to bowl at, is it somewhere you relish coming in, or is it going to be a run fest, do you think?
Run fest, I'd imagine. You look at the makeup of the two teams, you look at the power that England have and the exciting talent that India have mixed in with the experienced guys that they have. I can't see it being anything other than a high-scoring game, even though the outfield is relatively big here when you're talking about international grounds in this country. The weather's been very good, the outfield will race away, and from here what I can see, the wicket looks extremely good as well. But come back to me in 6 overs and I'll let you know what I think.
Finney, thank you very much indeed. We'll hear more from Stephen Finn as we go throughout the day. Prakash Wakankar is also part of our team as we bring you this first T20 International. It's a good crowd in. There's a few empty seats round and about, but I imagine there'll be plenty of people making their way into those seats. They've got the extra temporary green seats up as well to create an extra layer of possible attendance, so we should have a really good atmosphere with the floodlights on. They don't necessarily need to be, but they will take effect as we go through the evening, and we see Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan in the middle. It looks as though Sam Curran, who's recently bleached his hair in the manner of the Romanian 1998 World Cup football team.
Right, and it's going to be Rohit on strike. Obviously, a lot of experience there. Strike rate of 140. That's his career, an average of 32.5. But he's playing after a while. After the IPL against South Africa series, he took a break, and then obviously for obvious reasons missed out on the test match as well. So it's going to be Rohit and kind of a comeback for him with Ishan Kishan on the other end.
Well, there's one slip in place in the form of Moeen Ali, and new captain Butler crouches behind the stumps as here comes left arm over Sam Curran running in towards her. Rohit pushes the ball into the offside. A single is taken immediately towards point, and India up and running, one without loss.
Right, and this is a very a new kind of field setting that we've seen the last 3-4 months. You don't have a usual third anymore. You have a wide-ish third. You do have a slip in position, then kind of a deepish gully, and then you have a deep point or a fine-ish deep point or wide-ish third, whatever you want to call it. And it makes more sense, especially grounds with dimensions like these, which are like the side boundaries are really long. So naturally you would want the batters to kind of hit square off the wicket more often than straight down the ground. So it's the same feel for even Ishan Kishan, who's on strike now.
Ishan Kishan, left-hander, powerful player, waiting for Sam Curran, and he's just feeling that ball into the offside. Wants a quick single, will get there as well. So the throw comes in from Jason Roy, and the score moves to 2 without loss. England wearing their bright new T20 kit with the very red shirts and the dark trousers. They've got fielders in the deep, as you say, the 2 in the deep, square across this very long boundary square of the wicket.
It's a bit of a comeback for Sam Curran as well, isn't it, after his injuries and everything?
It is. He's moving in now past the umpire and bowling left alone outside the off stump by Rohit Sharma. Yeah, Sam Curran missed the T20 World Cup and the Ashes series with the stress fracture of the back, and he's had a great year with Surrey in the T20 Blast, actually largely with the bat as well as the ball. So he
got a 5 for and a half at Oval, isn't it?
Yeah,
one of the games.
And I spoke to him in the Netherlands, and he was saying how you don't want time off as a cricketer, but the time off he had to get fit again was the first time since he broke into first-class cricket. He's coming in now, and Rohit Sharma comes forward, slaps that ball down the ground and slaps it away for 4. It's a fine piece of timing, an aggressive shot from Rohit Sharma. He came dancing down towards Sam Curran, and with a cross-batted slap sends the ball careering towards the long off boundary for 4.
This is exactly the new approach that I was talking about. Generally you see Rohit and whoever's followed Rohit's career, it's been take your time initially, and then once he's got his eye in, he starts playing shots. But here, the very first over, steps out and bang.
How will Curran respond? 6 without loss is the score. 2 balls left in the over. Lent on by Rohit. He'll pick up an easy single out towards deep backward point. And Curran said that it was, you don't want to be missing out, but it gave him a chance to really reset his batting, a chance to work on technique, because there was no pressure to be touring and to be in quarantine and all those things. And he feels like a new player.
I'm not surprised, because obviously once he made his debut, obviously came in as a bowler, then at times it just kind of seemed like he was struggling to figure out whether he's a batter who could bowl or a bowler who could bat. I think that break gave him that kind of right perspective and how to go about things in international cricket.
Ishan Kishan is waiting, feeling that ball away into the offside. There's a chase on for the fielder at deep backward point, and it will be picked up down there in the distance as the throw comes in from Harry Brook. As the over concludes, 9 from it. India 9 without loss after 1 over. And a decent start with that one aggressive shot in there as well, Deep.
Yeah, and Ishan Kishan as well, he's a changed player now. I mean, he struggled against West Indies and Sri Lanka, the home series, especially against the left-arm seamers. But it seems like he's worked on his footwork, because he would get caught playing from the crease too much, and especially balls coming hanging back into him. But it seems like he's more nimble with his footwork, especially going forward, and more confident. And these two play for the same team in the IPL.
Indeed.
Yeah, so Rohit and Ishan Kishan. And Rohit has a lot of faith in Ishan Kishan. I mean, I still remember last season, not this season of IPL, last season had a nightmare. But then he kept backing him, and he finally came good.
Yeah, just 23 years old, so there's plenty of time for him to get himself sorted. We're going to see Reece Topley bowling from the hotel end. The second over of the game, another left arm over. And he's into bowl to Rohit Sharma down the leg side, will be signalled wide. And India moved to 10 without loss. Used to seeing Reece Topley open the bowling. It's certainly what he was doing in the Netherlands. So normally when you see the countdown on the big screen, you expect Reece Topley. But on this occasion, he takes the second over. He walks back towards us, tall figure, tattooed arms.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? In T20 cricket, a lot of teams, they go in not with their main bowler to bowl the first over.
Topley in, that's a better looking ball, defended into the offside by Sharma, leaning forward, just pushing it gently out towards David Malan.
Yeah, I mean, I just noticed a lot of the teams, they just say, you know what, let's get one over out of the way, especially from someone from the fifth bowler or sixth. I'm not saying Sam Curran is the fifth bowler. I mean, he does have the ability to swing the new ball back into the right-hander.
In comes Topley, arms pumping. Runs in full delivery, whipped away off the pads, nicely struck. It's going to rush down towards the boundary, it'll reach it. It goes a little finer than the fielder could cope with. And on the toes of Rohit Sharma, it's worked away for 4.
Yeah, a bit of a buffet ball, isn't it? A freebie, half volley on the pads to Rohit Sharma, or for that matter, anyone. Yeah, it's easy picking for Rohit Sharma. Played it too fine between a short fine and a deep square leg. The boundaries are really long, but timed it well.
Seemed quite a quick outfield. Raced away. Here comes Topley again then. Dark hair past the umpire. This is slashed away through the offside this time for 4 more. Finds the gap. There's no protection out there. The India flags are flying. And Rohit Sharma, he may have only had a couple of hits in the net, but he is looking in good touch. He's on 14. India 18 without loss.
Wow, that's a glorious shot. This is like proper stand and deliver. Doesn't really move his feet too much, which is very Rohit. Very handsy with his stroke play. And this time around, nothing wrong with the length, but the line a little too wide. And not much swing so far. Last over and this one as well. Went on with the angle, giving that extra room to Rohit Sharma. Change in the field now. The third's inside the circle. Is a deep point. And obviously the other one on the leg side. 2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. The deep square leg and deep point.
Fans filtering in all the time.
Rohit's not happy with movement. Is it us? We're just above the side screen.
Well, we are just above the side screen, but I think the windows...
You reckon he wants us to sit down now?
Well, it might be your shirt, Deep.
It's wide, Henry. Come on.
Here comes Reece Topley. Bowling to Sharma. Just lent on into the onside it goes. And there is no run. Hello to you, Andy Zoltzman.
Hello, Henry. Yes. I mean, a white ball against your white shirt, Deep. It could be my head glinting in the sun. I've had a few problems with that over the years.
I didn't want to say it. Here comes Topley again then, turning at the end of his mark and approaching about a dozen or so paces. And he runs into Rohit Sharma, very full on the pads. Big appeal for LBW, but that looked to have pitched well outside the line of leg stump. And the appeal is, I think, as much as anything, the enthusiasm of striking the pads as any realistic ambition of
a hint of movement as well.
A little bit.
Yeah. And a little bit of shape back into Rohit Sharma, who has traditionally found the left arm seamers a little more challenging. Times he gets caught not really knowing if the ball's coming back in or he's going to go on with the angle. Oh, this is interesting. And deep mid-wicket, so both the fielders outside 30-yard circle are on the onside.
In comes Topley again then. Bowling, this is worked out towards deep mid-wicket. Moeen Ali it is who'll run in and pick up. They'll turn for the second, throw comes in, and they'll make it pretty comfortably. Crowd like that. Good running, good intent, and the score moves forward. 20 without loss. End of the over. We've had 2, and so far it's looked all pretty comfortable for Rohit and Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, we'll see quite a few of those 2s tonight, isn't it? There's huge boundaries, especially the square boundaries are massive here. But good part is Rohit is looking fit. He's looking leaner. We saw him practicing and training at Edgbaston last couple of days. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's just recovered from COVID. Hopefully he's all right. He's looking all right, that's for sure.
Well, if you've been following the BBC television coverage, I remind you can watch video clips during this game on the BBC Sport website and app. Just go to the live text commentary, you'll find all the clips there. And then tonight, BBC 2, from 11:15, you'll be able to watch a full highlight show. You'll also be able to watch them at your leisure on the BBC iPlayer. And a big part of our team during the Test series, Moeen Ali, is going to come on to bowl from the far end of the ground, the pavilion end. England turning to spin pretty early in the innings.
This is going to be interesting. Ishan Kishan, so 2 fielders are deep mid-wicket or cow's corner and a long off. How long is it going to take for Ishan to sweep him?
Round the wicket, Moeen bowls to Ishan Kishan, who whacks the ball into the leg side out towards deep mid-wicket. Will pick up a single to bring Rohit onto strike. Moeen Ali, who ahead of this game received his 50th T20 cap from the new captain Joss Butler.
What a legend, Moeen. He'll bowl overs, difficult overs right now like he's doing it. He can open, he can bat in the middle order, low middle order. Absolute asset, Moeen Ali. Like Rohit Sharma, last couple of years, during the power play, has got out to spinner quite often playing the slog sweep. So got a couple of fielders in the deep on the onside, the long on and deep mid-wicket.
Moeen over the wicket to bowl to Rohit, who's defending, showing respect to the ball and the bowler. And it's pushed back towards Moeen. I would suggest there's probably a few more India supporters than England fans in the ground, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as and when there's a wicket. Moeen in bowling, that's swept hard into the leg side and for 4. Just behind square and down on one knee. Rohit wallops it to the boundary, 25 without loss.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. Was in complete control, got on top of the bounce and played it fine towards square leg. There's a fielder in the deep, lot straighter, but this is the vacant area. He does play the shot well, and that's the reason he's got out a few times playing the slog sweep, not the orthodox sweep which he did play in the last ball, but more so playing the slog over mid-wicket. Now obviously because of that last shot there's a change in the field. Now we've got a deep square leg. There's a huge gap between long on and deep square leg.
Moeen in bowling to Rohit, cries of catch, the ball goes into the leg side, but it's going to evade that fielder. Couple of bounces and 4 more out towards a section of India supporters who love that. 4 more, 29 without loss.
Action replay, almost the same shot as he played the delivery before. Yeah, just wonder, it was this time around, it's obviously it's aerial, but it's vacant area. And the good part about a ground as big as this, the real estate are huge. The gaps are massive.
Here comes Moeen again, bowling to Rohit, who this time is bowled. Moeen gets the wicket. Looking again, he's been caught behind. There was a little noise. It went through to Butler. And after an onslaught of boundaries, Rohit Sharma has to depart and Moeen Ali gets the revenge.
Yeah, tad bit shorter. A big deflection. That's a very good catch for Joss Butler. Huge deflection of the outside edge. But smart bowling from Moeen Ali. Was a tad bit fuller last 2 deliveries where Rohit could actually get onto the front foot and sweep him, but this time around had to play off the back foot. And Rohit Sharma gone for 24. India after 2.5 overs are 29 for 1.
24 from just 14 balls with 5 fours. 1 more run, it would have equalled Rohit Sharma's most in the first 3 overs of a T20 international. But he's been dismissed, so that doesn't happen. But he's never hit 5 fours before the first 3 overs, but he did today.
How on earth do you know that?
I don't know it, Henry. I look it up through my collection of an infinite number of statistically obsessed monkeys in a secret warehouse.
But I think the question is, how do you know where to look at?
Well, that's he's got a cricket shed, you see, Deep.
Never ask a statistician their secrets.
Deepak Hooda is the new man in, so Moeen Ali, fresh from the success of dismissing India's skipper, has the opportunity now to bowl to the right-handed and infinitely less experienced at this level. Deepak Hooda playing for just the 6th time in T20 internationals, and Moeen comes in, bowls. There's excitement from Moeen as the ball strikes the pad. The over comes to an end, a successful one. 3 have been bowled, and India 29 for 1. You see, Deep, Andy Zoltzman is the only person I know that has a net and a bowling machine in his garden.
Wow.
And it's not a big garden. He's just got his priorities absolutely right.
God, I'd warm up for the season by just letting the bowling machine fire balls down the net and just scoring dots on a bit of paper.
How many?
5 days. Just get ready for a test match. Old school test match, obviously.
Sort of Tavares boycott. Right then, 29 for 1. They're going at a good rate, India, but they have lost Rohit Sharma. Right, Reece Topley is going to continue with the left-handed Ishan Kishan on strike. There's a slip in place as Topley is in, bowls, it's pushed into the ground towards point, and there is no run. Lovely atmosphere out there, Deep. It's a good crowd.
Wonderful. Obviously, the weather as well, that helps. But a little too bright for me, and maybe a little too hot for me. I don't give me that look, Henry. I tell you why. Because the sun is really harsh. You know what I'm saying?
And also this window. It's like a little greenhouse. Here comes Reece Topley bowling to Kishan, who's feeling for that outside the off stump. Half an appeal from Butler, but I don't think there was any noise on it. Not like the Sharma wicket. There was a big deflection.
Yeah, massive. That's a really good catch. Really big deflection there. But that's a good length as well that Reece Topley's bowled to Ishan Kishan. That's just the back of length, because Ishan is very good with that pickup shot. He reads the length very early. So if you go little short, maybe around that 8-meter mark, he's very good through the onside.
Giant figure of Topley runs away from us to bowl to Kishan, who gets that ball off the middle of the bat. Into the leg side it goes, and good piece of fielding. Is it 4? We'll wait and see. Either way, a terrific effort from Harry Brook out there on the leg side. Scooped the ball back with one leg going over the boundary. The question is, has he saved 4 runs? I think he probably has.
He has. But this is exactly what I was talking about last delivery, Henry. If you go a tad bit short to Ishan Kishan, he's so good to pick up the length. He's all right.
A good piece of fielding.
Yeah, a couple of runs. But then again, you'd rather have Ishan Kishan driving off the front foot than pulling.
Topley again to Ishan Kishan, who is slapping that ball into the offside. Well stopped at cover. David Malan it is who tumbles forward. 31 for 1. Smoke rising behind the Shane Warne stand and the Rod Brasgrove Pavilion. You've got all of the food stalls out there. It's a sort of haze that we're getting between here and the trees beyond. When it's full, this is a cracking venue.
It is. It looks like that. I'm just driving down to the venue as well. Beautiful.
In comes Topley bowling now. This has been hit in the air. Can a fielder get underneath it? Running around, trying desperately to make up the ground, but no. It falls in between 2. There really, to be honest, wasn't much chance for Matt Parkinson at short fine leg, and it was some distance for Harry Brook. But just a little lack of control possibly from Kishan, and he picks up 2 more. 33 for 1.
Yeah, bounced a little more than Ishan Kishan was expecting. Top edge, lucky for him. But he can actually think of having 2 fielders there because of the really long side boundaries. So he's got 1.
In comes Topley again. Kishan waiting, and he gets in a bit of a tangle. He's struck on the body, and that looks painful.
It's a rib cage, is it? It seems like the rib cage. He's in a lot of trouble there, Ishan Kishan.
Well, we have a little look there, the replay, and reared up at him.
Literally a rib tickler there. That is painful. The physio is obviously out, the Indian physio. Yeah, but that's the area where you might want to target Ishan Kishan. It's not too short. It's in that good length region. Yeah, obviously Reece Topley, because of his height, gets that extra bounce. Can be a little deceptive because it always bounces more than you expect.
No, he's still down on his knees, just beginning to pick himself up, but visibly no chest guard. You can normally see the huge bulge underneath the jersey, but he's not got that. And as you say, it's that extra bit of bounce off a length, and he's not the tallest, Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, and doesn't really want to get onto the front foot as much. It's like typical T20 batters who want to just hang around at the crease and not really commit too much on the front foot or back foot. Very handsy with his stroke play.
Still we wait, there's a reasonable delay. I think he'll be okay, but it's one of those where until you start swinging, you're not going to know necessarily quite how much trouble you're in.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he got it flush on into that rib area. This could be trouble. He seems to be all right, but as you rightly said, Henry, I mean, till the time he starts playing a few shots, he'll figure out how painful it is. But as of now, he's good to go.
Well, Moeen Ali's going to bowl from the far end towards us. The non-strikers then, Ishan Kishan is okay. Well, we will find out, but he's okay to continue for the time being. And the right-handed Deepak Hooda will be on strike. Moeen stops and starts and begins the approach again. And he runs in towards us. Moeen bowling, and down the track comes Hooda. He's got hold of that. It's gone a long way, I fancy. Fielder on the boundary watches it over his head. It slaps into the van at the far end. And that is a really fine shot to start the over. Well over long on, 39 for 1.
Yeah, I'm just a tad bit surprised that Moeen's got the second over. Hooda generally plays spin really, really well. And that's what you expect for somebody who's been playing domestic cricket for so many years. Steps out, over, long on, doesn't matter if there's a fielder back there.
Moeen bowls again. Once more, he targets that boundary. A little bit wider this time, but the same outcome. 6 more, Chris Jordan can do nothing but watch it fly.
Yeah, another fabulous shot. Fabulous shot. Steps out, gets to the pitch. This time it was a lot straighter, and hence he went more towards mid-wicket. A bit of turn as well for Moeen. And so goes with the turn, and the surface is so good to bat on. This is a brilliant batting surface.
Pressure on Moeen. He comes over the wicket again. Field remains the same. Hooda this time defends back to Moeen, who collects on one knee.
Yeah, a lot flatter this time in terms of trajectory, but a couple of really good shots from Deepak Hooda. He's been in really good form.
Moeen bowling. This is just clipped along the ground to wide, long on. They'll turn for a second run that I don't think is there, and so it'll just be the single, I should say. Not just this T20 International tonight on the BBC, also the second blast quarter-final, Birmingham Bears against the Hampshire Hawks from 6:25 on the BBC Sport website and app, so do look out for that. Every ball of every game in domestic cricket available on the BBC. 46 for 1 is the score at the Ageas Bowl. We've got a slip in place as Ishan Kishan waits, the left-hander, sweeps hard. It's gone in the air. Fielder running around, should take it, and does. Catch held at short, fine, and it's Matt Parkinson who takes a tumbling catch, and whether that might just be a reflection of the blow that Kishan took, and maybe he didn't quite play that shot as freely as he might do. Either way, he's gone. It's 46 for 2.
Yeah, this is also a massive wicket. Ishan Kishan, he can be extremely dangerous, but then again, Moeen Ali picks up another wicket here. A lot flatter, went with the angle. Yeah, top edge. That's what happens when you don't get on top of the bounce and you're trying to sweep. Just in between shot. Neither did he want to play it in the air, not along the ground. Top edge and a good catch by Parkinson.
46 for 2. It's Pat Parkinson. Matt Parkinson.
Parkinson.
Sorry.
Do we not have the image rights to use his actual name?
It is very easily done. He's a fielder, Parkinson, who's not necessarily known for complete reliability in the field. He took a belter in the 100 last year that his Manchester Originals teammates, the fact that they celebrated it with quite such enthusiasm suggested that maybe it was as much of a surprise to them as it was to anybody else. But that was a good tumbling catch, the ball dropping out of a bright sky. And we see Suryakumar Yadav coming to the middle. 17th T20 international. 450s in that time. He's a dangerous player, hits the ball a long way.
Yeah, he's also playing after a while. He's been away from cricket because of an injury to his thumb and wrist. And he's come back. He's played a few games, but he still hasn't been his usual self as yet.
Here comes Moeen to finish the over. There's a sweep, nicely played. It's in the air. It's going to rush away to the boundary. Gets it fine enough to evade that fielder. And a 50 up for India. They're going at a really good rate here. 50 for 2 after 5 overs. Moeen Ali's got both of the wickets. And with the sun shining and the India flags flying, I'm going to get out of the way. After some more from you, Deepak Gupta, it'll be for the first time this evening, Prakash Wakanka.
Thank you, Henry. And this is the approach that we were talking about. 5 overs, 50 for 2, even though India lost their openers, but they're not stopping. And that's the reason the last 6 months, I guess, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, post the World Cup, India have the best strike rate during the power play overs in world cricket, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, dig that out for you. Certainly, these are the two teams. Oh, wait, after this ball.
Topley to continue. He's into ball to Hooda, who shuffles it and drives on the offside, but straight to the man at the edge of the circle. I think it's Jordan. There will be no run. It's not... yeah, Andy.
Sorry, in matches between the top 10 in the ranking since the 2016 World Cup, these are the two most potent batting teams going in terms of runs per over, both at 8.7 per over, the fastest of those 10 teams.
Here's Topley again. Running away from us now from the hotel end. Goes in and bowls to Hooda, who flicks it away and will get 4 runs, even though it's a big hit down towards the widest long on area. Powerful wrists there. Just clicked it over the onside. Really good control there. Deep?
Absolutely. This is like very good pickup shot. Wasn't on the leg stump as such. Was more like middle off, angling away, but wristy. Very, very wristy.
Yeah, on that replay, in fact, just outside the off stump, I'd say, as he picked it up, as it was angled across him. Topley in bowls again, and this time he's gone over the onside, won't go all the way, didn't get hold of it. I think the ball again getting a little bit big on him, but Hooda's a tall man himself and was able to get into a reasonable position and pick up 2 runs down to a deep mid-wicket area. 56 for 2 now, and we are in the 6th over, having lost 2 wickets, the wickets of Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, Deepak Hooda obviously got 100 his last T20I against Ireland. He's in really good nick, got runs in the warm-up games.
Too, yep.
Yeah, and got runs in the first T20I against Ireland as well.
Interesting stance before he sort of takes that trigger movement in. And this time he's cracked it over the top of the man at point. He's going to get 4 down towards the square third area. So Hooda's on fire here. Now he's got, what, 23 of 9.
That's poor bowling from Reece Topley. He's got 2 fielders on the onside, the 2 boundary riders on the onside, deep mid-wicket and square leg. And this one, he bowls wide outside off stump, short and wide. This is like a freebie for Deepak Hooda, slashes it over point. Never wanted to keep it along the ground.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure he got it over the fielder there. And here's Topley again into Hooda on the pads, this time flicked away along the ground. They're looking for 2 because he's placed it, and they will get that. And Hooda, of course, a very tall man, so covers up the yards fairly quickly. So with 1 ball to come in the 6th, India are 62 for 2. Both openers gone. Hooda on fire, really. 25 of 10. And he's looked in sublime touch.
Yeah, and just talking about the pitch as well. Looks like a really good batting pitch here.
Topley, last ball of the over ball. Then Hooda this time again, gimme, and he slashed it over the man at short third and pick up 4 more. So that's a poor over, one has to say. Deep, a little bit wide outside the off stump from Topley on a couple of occasions, with the field kind of set on the onside, and Hooda takes full toll.
for a left-arm seamer coming over the wicket, obviously the angle will take it outside. This time it wasn't too far from the off stump, but the angle, and was really smart on Hooda to actually make room for himself and use that angle and the bounce that Reece Topley anyways gets and plays it over third. That's good batting, smart batting, and obviously batting from someone who's in great nick.
I think Andy is poised because I think this might be one of the better power plays that India have had in internationals in T20.
It will be up there. I'll get exactly where it is in the list, just to pick up on Deep's point on India's batting in the power play. Since the last T20 World Cup late last year, they've gone at 8.5 in the power play in 15 innings. There hasn't been a huge amount of T20 cricket around the world, but that is the fastest of teams that have played more than one match. If you include teams that have played only one match, they're not quite as quick as Singapore, who went at 8.9 in their one innings with 58 off 36.
So as you'd expect, change in field and change in bowling at the far end. Moeen Ali, after taking 2 wickets, has been replaced by Tymel Mills, and he is going to bowl to Suryakumar Yadav, who has 4 to his credit. Field's been spread out. I'll give that to you in a moment as Mills comes in, bowls, and Yadav slashes outside the off stump, misses. As you said, Deep, coming back from injury, never easy for any sportsman or athlete.
And his injury was with the wrist as well.
Yeah.
And somebody like Surya was very wristy. It's never going to be easy. But he's someone that India really needs fit and in good form for the World Cup.
Yes, because he can sort of adapt, isn't it, to the situation, can play 2 different ways in 2 different gears, or maybe even 3. Mills with 4 men on the offside, 5 on the on. Is in. Left arm over, bowls, and Yadav split this in the air. Is there a man going to get underneath it? No, it's gone over his head at deep backward square for 6, and that's a typical Suryakumar Yadav shot. Just a pick up over the hip, and away she goes into the ropes. In fact, over the ropes. 72 for 2.
We're talking about being wristy, and Surya, and what an example. Not really much. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, the line could have been straighter, 2 leg side-ish, but he's got this unique ability of hitting in very, very unconventional areas. This time he kind of flicked, or rather helped the ball on its way over find.
Mills with that little skip before he breaks it to his run, comes in again, bowls, and this time Yadav drives on the offside and doesn't make any contact. So it's not just the T20 International tonight on the BBC. You can also listen to the second T20 Blast quarterfinal, Birmingham Bears against the Hampshire Hawks, from 6:25 on the BBC Sport website and app. Here at the AGS Bowl, 72 for 2 with 6.3 overs gone and the run rate of just a shade over 11.
Interesting field, this one. On the onside for Surya, got 3 boundary riders, a deep mid-wicket, deep square leg and a fine leg. And on the offside got 3rd and a sweeper point, a sweeper cover.
In comes Mills again, bowls, and Yadav's aired. This one's gone up in the air. Is anyone going to get to it? It's going to drop between the keeper who was running back and Topley who was running in. So fortuitous there. Top edge from Yadav will pick up a run, and Andy is ready with something.
Yeah, just the power play score 66 for 2. Not actually that close to India's leading scores in the top 15, but some way off their record of 82. But it's their second highest power play score in 20 innings against England. Only once. Fine game down in Bristol in 2018 when they were 70 for 2 off 6, so they scored more.
There we go. So India would be reasonably happy with the way things have gone so far. They'll need to keep this going as Mills comes into bowl now to Hooda. He's in bowls, and Hooda gets his bat on a wide-ish delivery. Wasn't able to place it. Moeen does the fielding. 73 for 2 it stays.
With that feel, you would expect the bowler to bowl back of length. Obviously, let the batter hit square off the wicket because that's where he's got the protection. He slips in a wide Yorker, the last one. But again, that miss hit from Surya, that predominantly might be the length for both these batters here.
Yeah, it's just a shade back. Last ball of the 7th over coming up from Mills. Hooda on strike. In he comes, bowls, and Hooda's whipped it away wristily. He will not beat the fielder running around. A little bit of a fumble allows the second run to be taken, and should have been just 1. The little fumble allowing the second run to be taken quickly. 75 for 2. Hooda up to 31. Yadav is now on strike for the next over on 11. So India off to a brisk start. Rohit Sharma the first to fall, having hit a couple of boundaries of Moeen Ali, a thickish edge, and a really good catch behind the wicket by Joss Butler. And then Ishan Kishan having been hit in the ribs by a delivery from Topley. Very next ball that he faced, went for a sweep, couldn't keep it down, and was taken at short fine leg rather, by Parkinson off the bowling of Moeen. Both wickets to Moeen, and it's a very good evening to Steve Finn, who's just moved into the seat alongside me. Hi there, Steve.
Good evening. Yes, I've had to sit down in the seat, unlike yourself and Deep, because my head went into the light fitting when I tried to stand up at the table we have.
I was hoping rather that you wouldn't mention that, but now people will understand that I do need to stand if I'm going to commentary with you.
You can stand on this chair if you like.
That might give you a complex, mate. Here's a change in bowling. Parkinson now. We're going to see some wrist spin. And what's the field? You've got 3 men saving a single on the offside, 2 in the deep on the on, and 3 in the deep on the onside with a fine leg at 45. First ball, and it's been square driven very nicely, wristily again, by Suryakumar Yadav, just opening the shade of his bat, maybe a touch over pitched, and finds the boundary backward of point. 4 runs.
Yeah, not an ideal start from Parkinson. People talk about the pace that he bowls and how that will suit playing in international cricket. It's going to be interesting to see how the Indians go about trying to take him down this evening, as no doubt they will, like they do every bowler, but offers the width there and expertly put away through point.
Here's Parkinson again into Yadav. Yadav comes forward, eases it onto the onside this time, and they'll just take the single. Jordan, I think it is, who comes off the long on boundary. Fields, it's 80 for 2 in the 8th over now. And the run rate just a shade below 11. India have gotten off to a good start. They would have ideally not want to lose those 2 wickets, but they have. Hooda and Suryakumar Yadav at the moment carrying the momentum forward. Here's Parkinson again. Bowls down the wicket, comes Hooda and drives straight to the man. I think it's Malan at the edge of the circle, and there is no run.
He gets it up there, gives it a chance to spin. He's one of the biggest spinners of the ball in domestic cricket in this country. Gives it a chance with his flight.
He's up again, he bowls, and this time Hooda comes down the wicket. And was that a bit of a deflection, or was it a mis-stumping? We'll have to watch. But Hooda came down the wicket, didn't make any contact, and the batsmen have run through. No signal from the umpire, so he obviously got an edge onto it. Yeah, just a thickish inside edge, but he was done in the flight there.
Yeah, with the big square boundaries here, Matt Parkinson, if he keeps the ball on the stumps, asking the Indians to play across the line, he'll be in the game.
Parkinson bowls, and this one's driven on the offside, down towards the man at sweeper, but he's played it square of the wicket and given enough good timing on it to beat the man moving to his left at sweeper cover, and picks up 4 more runs, does Suryakumar Yadav there. Lovely shot again.
Yeah, offered up almost identical to the first ball of the over, but here it's important that Parkinson tries to bowl within the width of the stumps and ask the Indians to play across the line. If you offer the width like that with a big gap at point, you're going to get put away for 4.
Parkinson in again. Last ball of the over to Yadav. Yadav drives, and he'll pick up a run down to long off. At the end of that over, the 8th of the innings, India 86 for 2. Hooda's 32, Suryakumar Yadav on 21.
It's been a good start, hasn't it, for India here? We thought that it looked like a good wicket. When we're looking at it from afar here, sometimes they can look a little bit tired here at the Aegeus Bowl, but here have produced an absolute belter right in the middle of the square. A packed house, not that much shade for people to sit in, so it could be a long evening for a few people, but it's been an outstanding start for India, and at 86 for 2 they've set themselves a wonderful platform to try and propel themselves beyond 200.
Well, they'll certainly be wanting to do that. We've often seen how quickly the game turns, particularly in the T20 format. A bit of a conversation between bowler and skipper, and Butler just giving the finer touches, I guess, in terms of moving personnel to the right place in the field. Parkinson moving back from where he was earlier headed, and Sam Curran, who's at third, is now going back onto the boundary. So we've got 3 boundary riders on the onside. There's a sort of a cow corner, a man deep square, and a traditional long leg. Third on the boundary and a sweeper cover. So 5 men, 3 on the on, 2 on the off, 3 men saving a single at the edge of the circle really on the offside, and 1 at mid-on. Jordan in bowls. First balls run down to third man. Sam Curran will field and a single will accrue. 87 for 2.
It's very important here at the Ageas Bowl with the dynamic and the nature of the ground, big square boundaries and still big straight boundaries but slightly smaller. You ask the batters to hit square of the wicket and try and beat the fielders, especially outside the first 6 overs where you can protect those square boundaries. Changes of pace into the wicket and tucking up the batters with line is always the way to go that I've found here when playing domestic cricket and a few international games. So Chris Jordan knows that. He's an experienced campaigner and he'll be playing around with his field and the pace of delivery to try and not let the Indian batters get settled.
All those and more thoughts, I'm sure, in Jordan's mind as he comes into bowl to Hooda. He's up, he bowls, and Hooda's sort of charging down the wicket, not quite getting where he wanted to, but runs it down to third man nevertheless and picks up a run down to Sam Curran. Saw him coming, did Chris Jordan there. Just pulled his length back a little. Deepak Hooda, one of those players who's sort of been on the fringes of playing for India. And certainly in the last IPL did his chances no harm, which is why he's gotten the break, played a couple of good knocks against Ireland as well, and finds himself batting at number 3 at the moment. It's Suryakumar Yadav on strike. Bowls off the outside edge, aiming for extra cover there was Suryakumar, got the thick outside edge down to third man. This is probably the best over of the innings so far.
It has been, and it's been very simple. He barely left the width of the stumps, changing his pace slightly, using the cross seam there. We can see him bowling with a cross seam, which means that if it hits the shiny side it may skid on, if it hits the seam it may stop in the wicket. And when you're playing on a good surface you need to try and give yourself any sort of variability that you can, and Chris Jordan's doing that well so far.
Experienced campaigner, he's in again, he bowls, and this time it's been played straight into the hands of the man at 45. That was again an intelligently bowled, slower ball, 70 miles, and Deepak Hooda has to walk back to the pavilion, looking to help it round the corner. Wasn't able to beat the man at the edge of the circle, and that is the third Indian wicket gone for 89.
Yeah, we just tried to help it on its way here. We can see Chris Jordan bowling off-cutter into the surface on the hip of the batter there, and tries to help it on its way, but because it's an off-cutter it doesn't have the pace to be able to get it up and over the short fine leg fielder who's Tamal Mills, who takes a simple catch around waist high. Ex-Sussex teammates, they high-five, and England are happy as they've broken a dangerous partnership. And Deepak Hooda, who looked good for 33 from 17 balls, walks back to the pavilion, and that's the importance of taking wickets through the middle overs of a T20 game. It means someone else has to come in, get themselves started, and you may just buy yourself a few balls, which in what could be a high-scoring game could be important.
Absolutely, and isn't it amazing? It doesn't matter what format of the game, but the basics in terms of if you get wickets, you're going to try and keep the batting side in check. It's in a way as simple as that, but in a T20 game, particularly when you've got that kind of a partnership going, I think this over could well be a pivotal moment in the game where England sort of start to turn the tide, as it were, and not let the Indian batsmen run away with it.
Yeah, try and wrestle back some momentum, because it has been all India at the moment. A couple of early breakthroughs for Moeen Ali, but aside from that there's been some outstanding hitting and sensible stroke play. Actually, it's not just been brute force, there's been classy strokes through the off and leg side and dissecting the field, which has been very good. But here's the superstar Hardik Pandya. He is a bit of a rock star, isn't he? He comes out to the crease, shakes his shoulders around and faces up to Chris Jordan, and this will be a big wicket for England because they know how dangerous Pandya can be.
He can be, and he's been sort of on song in the latter part of the IPL. Of course, the IPL winning captain as well for the Gujarat Titans, and one amongst many in recent times who've led India. So he's got, I think, a bit of a responsibility as well here. Now 3 wickets down. There's not a huge amount of batting to come down the order, and he will want to make sure this momentum isn't lost entirely. Here's Jordan into Pandya. Didn't know much about that. It squirts away on the onside. They'll take a quick run. Again, excellent length, isn't it, from Jordan there?
Yeah, showing his experience, showing how simple you have to keep it sometimes. I think in T20 cricket you can get caught up with trying too many things, or become too preoccupied with trying to defend certain areas of the ground. But here, with the very basic game plan of bowling straight and hard into the pitch, and either with pace on or pace off, means that as a bowler your thought process is just so much more simple.
Now here's something we don't often see in the 9th over of the innings. A slip in place. Moeen Ali has come alongside his skipper Joss Butler, and Jordan is up bowls, and this worked away on the weekend onside. They'll pick up one, as the fielder will this time make sure that he gets there and there is no fumble. As the end of the 9th over, India 91 for 3. Andy.
Just 5 from Chris Jordan's first over and the wicket, his 81st in T20 international cricket. That ties him with Adil Rashid for most wickets for England in this format. Rashid missing this series to undertake the Hajj pilgrimage. He also has 81, but Jordan's levelled Stephen Finn in 9th place, 27 wickets in 21 games.
If only that bloke had have played more, hey? He'd have broken all the records, that fella.
Parkinson to continue. His first over was a bit expensive, went for 11, and now there's a slightly different field. You've got 3 men almost behind the bat on the offside on the ring, and 2 in the deep. Parkinson first ball to Pandya, who whips it away, to Yadav rather, who whips it away down towards the wideish long on area. Single is all he's going to get. Are you happier with this field, Steve? 3 men on the ring and then 2 deep, making the batsman look to drive, I guess?
I am. The only problem with it is that because the boundaries are so big here, square, it allows the batters the opportunity to just run easy twos if you can split that field. But I don't mind it.
Parkinson to Pandya, tosses it up, and Pandya drives over the bowler's head, just 2 bounces into the boundary. He's a wiry man, hits the ball really hard, timed it well, and once it had cleared the bowler, really there was no chance for Jason Roy, who's fairly wide. So 4 more to the total, 96 now for 3, and Pandya moves up to 5.
Yeah, it's a touch full from Matt Parkinson, and Pandya can just stand there and smash it back over his head.
Parkinson in again bowls, and this time it's on the leg stump. It's played away quietly. They think about a run, decide against it.
Yeah, we're not seeing any grip thus far at the moment for Matt Parkinson. We know that if there was grip to be found, he would find it. So suggests a very good wicket, but it just means that he's going to have to be that little bit more disciplined with the lengths that he bowls and try and get the batters playing maybe slightly off the back foot as opposed to just being able to step and stand and hit the ball.
Here's Parkinson again. Into Pandya, bowls flatter through the air, and Pandya looks to paddle sweep, doesn't quite connect. Wide signal down the leg side by the umpire. The unforgiving format this for bowlers, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I had a slight disagreement, let's say, with an umpire the other night about a wide. It's hard not to lose your cool sometimes, but that is the game.
There's Parkinson into Pandya, tossed up wide, and he's cracked it away through the offside, splitting the fielders at long off and deep extra cover. I don't think they saw the ball there, because you just for a moment after the ball was struck saw Jason Roy stationary, almost as if he was trying to pick the ball up, but it's raced away to the boundary, and that'll also mean that I think the 100 comes up with that boundary as well. Firmly struck by Hardik Pandya. Parkinson in again, this time down the leg side, will be called wide, rightly so. He's got to keep his wits about him here. Never easy for a spinner in this kind of format.
No, it's not, and that momentum that Chris Jordan gained in the last over with the wicket.
Parkinson in again, flatter, quicker, and this time he draws a defensive push on the offside. The batsman amble across for a single. 103 now for 3. Hardik has gone up to 9. Yadav is on 27, or Suryakumar. And so India keeping that run rate there or thereabouts in double figures, just about a shade over 10. And Parkinson with the last ball of the over. He's bowled 2 wides in the over as well, and that in this format can really hurt you. As Parkinson in to bowl to Suryakumar, and Suryakumar comes forward and drives, and a diving Malan. I don't think we'll be able to stop that ball. That's running away to the boundary, just pulled in on the edge of the cushions, and that'll mean 2 more runs to the total and 2 more to Suryakumar. He's gone up to 27. At the end of 10 overs, India 105 for 3, and time for me, after a quick word from Steve Finn, to hand over to Henry Moran.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic start here for India, really putting England under pressure, winning the toss and opting to bat first, a slightly unconventional way to go about it in T20s in this country. But choosing to try and put some scoreboard pressure on the hosts here, and they're doing just that. And really now England will be just hunting wickets. I think when you start to look defensive in this situation, you can come unstuck yourself, and you can allow the Indians to really build momentum towards the back end of this innings. The only thing that will stop the Indians posting a humongous total here is wickets, and that will be Joss Butler's message as we go into the drinks break.
It's India's 10th highest score at the halfway point of a T20 international, 105 for 3 after this, and also the joint 10th highest score against England in this format. India's played just over 160 games, England almost 150 innings in those samples.
Just looking there to see which ones of those I played in. I played in a couple of them. Australia versus England at at Southampton. Aaron Finch took us down that day.
2013?
2013, yeah. I think they're still looking for a couple of the balls out that way, back towards the motorway, that Aaron Finch hit off me, but we won't talk about that too much.
Well, what would be too many for England to chase here? What will they fancy?
Well, 350, the way they're going at the moment, I don't know. It's all very hard to say in this new dawn of cricket, I suppose. It does certainly feel that with the power that England have, nothing is impossible, but saying that, there is a balance to be had between going too hard and losing those wickets. So England will have to restrict India to something around 200 here, you would say, to give themselves a chance. But we've seen some ludicrous games of cricket so far this year, and anything's possible, and I'm very much looking forward to being sat this side of the rope and not on the other side of it.
It's an awful lot easier.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Hindsight's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm finding out now as I'm bridging the gap between playing and commentating.
The joy is you never bowl a bad ball when you're...
I didn't.
Ever?
No.
It's just bad umpiring the whole time.
Bowled a lot of unlucky balls, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah, lots of those.
Little update from the T20 Blast. You can listen to that, I should say, on the BBC Sport website and app. It's quarter-final day. The Birmingham Bears against the Hampshire Hawks from Edgbaston. Good start for the Hawks, 56 without loss. And McDermott and Vince in the middle. We're going to see Tamal Mills bowling from the pavilion end to his second over. 9 from the first one. Another in this left arm combo that England have. And he bowls a delivery which is flying too wide outside the off stumps as the umpire, as Pandya went big at it. And Mills has to turn on his heel and head back to the end of his mark. He looked very pleased, Tamal Mills, with his new Norwich City shirt the other day.
He did, yes, he did. Down in the Championship with my boys, Watford, next season. Yeah, him and his daughter Delphi were sporting matching Norwich City shirts. Not sure how many months into the season they'll ditch those and forget that they're Norwich fans, but we'll see.
Here comes Mills with a little hop and a skip, running in. Left arm over, quick ball which is chopped away, nicely played. It's going to rush towards the boundary for 4. Finds the gap. There's 2 fielders out there behind square on the offside. But the gap is found a little bit wide from Mills as he tries the slower ball that hasn't quite come off.
Yeah, I think Chris Jordan set the simple mantra that England need here as seam bowlers in the previous over from the pavilion end, just keeping the ball within the width of the stumps, offering the Indians no chance to get their hands through the ball, and to try and negate that, Tamal Mills now signals to the umpire that he wants to come round the wicket, which suggests to me that he wants to try and bowl a tight line over the top of off and middle stump here to the batter to offer him no width to be able to throw his hands at, like that previous delivery.
Mills beginning the approach round the wicket this time. Pandya on strike as Tamal Mills is in bowls. It's Fuller, played away off the face of the bat, running out towards that boundary. A good sliding stop in the deep, though. It's a boundary well saved out there in the distance by Liam Livingston in front of a big bank of supporters. And Livingston does well. He's a good fielder out there.
He is a very athletic team, England, haven't they? And that's something that, again, when Owen Morgan took over and it's developed over a number of years, it's a non-negotiable that you are capable of fielding almost anywhere. I mean, I wouldn't trust myself to go and field at slip. I've got bad memories of the last time I fielded at slip, but certainly in the outfield you have to be able to throw yourself around.
What happened?
I dropped a chap at second slip on 58, I think, and he ended up getting 255.
Here comes Mills bowling. This is defended into the onside, but into enough space to the right of Chris Jordan at mid-on to allow for a single. 113 for 3. Just the 197 runs.
Yes, yeah. My parents were there watching, and they never let me forget it. Every time they see Nick Brown's name on a team sheet, they say, that's the chap you gifted 200 first-class runs to.
So when people
thanks.
say at the end of their careers, I want to thank my parents,
He should thank me, yeah. It's an unbelievable high score to get, isn't it? 250.
Right then, Mills at the end of his mark, running in the sunshine towards us. Suryakumar Yadav waiting on 27. He's not quite got all of that. Oh yes, he has. I thought for a moment it was just spooning up in the air towards that fielder at fine leg, but it sailed over Reece Topley. With the merest flick of the wrist, the ball flies away for 6 more.
Phenomenal shot, really steps inside the line of the delivery, noticing that Tamal Mills coming round the wicket wants to try and angle the ball into leg stump, so he jumps across outside off stump, and with the pace that Tamal Mills has on offer, he just manages to somehow get the full face of the bat on it and just flick it over fine leg, and that's a wonderful shot and puts some pressure on Tamal Mills with 2 balls to go this over.
Yadav waits with open stance as in comes Mills. This is driven into the offside. You can hear off the bat it doesn't sound particularly good, and it dribbles rather gently out to deep cover, and the score moves forward 120 for 3.
The amazing thing about cricket now and T20 cricket now is that people just aren't scared. Previously you go into 10 overs gone with 3 wickets down, and you think quite a long tail from this Indian team, and you'd be some degree of consolidation and just try and get ourselves to 200, but that just doesn't cross the mind of the modern cricketer, and it's amazing to see. Quite disheartening for a bowler, but amazing nonetheless.
Here comes Mills, round the wicket, pushed off the back foot only as far as the fielder inside the circle at extra cover. And a good recovery there from Mills after that big boundary. Slower ball to finish, 11 gone. It's 120 for 3 with Suryakumar on 34 from just 16 balls. Hardik Pandya has got 17 from 9. The run rate stands at just shy of 11 at over. We're going to see Chris Jordan having a bowl. As we look around, I can see on the balconies all around, Finney, India flags draped over. People have booked out these rooms, made sure they've got prime seats.
Yeah, and they have too. It's a wonderful view from here on the hotel side, and an amazing amount of Indian fans, supporters inside the ground. Every time there's a boundary you can hear cheers. We may hear a pin drop when England score a boundary after the break. It could be one of those sorts of crowds, but it's great to have this atmosphere at an English cricket ground. I love it here at the Ageas Bowl when the banks of extra seats are put up to fill the gaps between the hotel and the pavilion end of the ground, so it really does feel like a bowl. It's a wonderful atmosphere, it's a lovely evening, and there are 9 overs to go, which could prove to be complete and utter carnage.
Feels a bit that way, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Well, because we are in a hotel room ourselves, and all the rooms around us are taken by guests of the hotel. Someone poked their head round the door earlier when Finney and I were preparing for commentary. Don't suppose you've got a kettle, have you?
I thought she was joking. I thought this must be a wind-up from someone. She's got like a secret camera somewhere.
Here comes Chris Jordan then into a second over. Suryakumar gets underneath that. Has it got the distance? I think it has. 4 runs. Liam Livingston couldn't quite get round. It went between him at backward square leg and the fine leg fielder, and the over starts with a boundary. 124 for 3.
Yeah, Suryakumar again realising that Chris Jordan is going to try and keep deploying the plan of bowling over the top of the stumps with either slight changes of pace or quicker balls, but he's happy to step inside the line of delivery, and by that I mean step across to off stump and help it on its way, whereas if you're deploying that tactic to many people with the 4 fielders up on the offside, they will try and pierce the offside, but he backs himself to hit the gaps on the boundary, and he's doing so beautifully.
Suryakumar then on to 38. 124 for 3. Jordan trundles in again, right arm over. Again, the leg side targeted. This time it's Reece Topley who'll have to run in from long on to pick up. A single it's taken.
The lady asked for semi-skimmed milk as well, didn't she?
That's not quite what happened. You rather sarcastically said, semi-skimmed all right? She said, yeah, perfect. Lovely.
Yeah, it's interesting set of circumstances down here, isn't it? You've got people in the hotel rooms, some curtains drawn, some not. Some watching the cricket, some not. Maybe watching it on the TV, because it is blooming hot in here, sat behind the glass.
If you've booked a ticket or the hotel room you're watching on telly. Here comes Jordan. This is skewed away, off an outside edge, will drop just short of the fielder at deep third, picked up in the distance by Curran. 1-2-6 for 3. I always like the idea that somebody 2 years in advance or a year in advance has a business trip. Maybe someone from, America, rural America, has a business trip to look at a marine company in Southampton and just one morning opens their curtains and sees a one-day international.
And you've got the vuvuzelas going downstairs as well. Yeah, you'd be a tad annoyed, wouldn't you? But who could complain watching this spectacle?
In comes Chris Jordan then, midway through the 12th. Chasing it is Suryakumar. There's an appeal for a caught behind from Joss Butler. There's not much interest from the bowler, but Butler is captain now. Makes the decision to go upstairs. David Milnes makes the signal, and we will review the decision.
I heard something glovey on my headset on the way through. Chris Jordan didn't look convinced, and umpire Milnes wasn't either. But Joss Butler, he's took the gamble. His first review as full-time England captain. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we'll see front on first of all. That should give us a decent indication. Dug in short by Jordan. He goes for the pull shot, and well, I don't think it's touched the helmet. I think it's the glove, if anything. Third umpire Martin Saggers is having a look at it, and ultra edge is going to be the defining.
I like the look of that. I think that's hit glove with a mild deflection as it goes past, but that may be my 33-year-old eyes playing tricks on me. I don't know, but
here we go. Fairly decent chunk of glove. And that will be the end of Suryakumar Yadav going for the big heave-ho into the leg side. And a good call on review from the new skipper. He was convinced and happy enough to go upstairs. The decision will have to be overturned, and the score will move to 126 for 4.
Yeah, good review, and more importantly, a very big wicket there. Chris Jordan, he's deserved it. Bowling to a plan. One bowler who's looked like he's had a real proper plan and stuck to it so far this innings, but a slower ball dug into the wicket cramps Suryakumar Yadav for room, who made 39 from 19 balls. A fantastic innings actually, and has kept the momentum through the middle of the innings going. But an important wicket, having got 39, England would have been fearing him being there for another 7 or 8 overs or so, and now England have the opportunity to try and squeeze on the new batter Axar Patel as he comes in.
Yeah, we're into the all-rounders. Axar Patel, memorable for that series at the start of last year when he did all sorts with the ball. That pitch in Ahmedabad, but it was not necessarily...
You could have turned your arm over on that and been quite dangerous, Henry, I think.
You've not seen me bowling.
Well, I think that's more the point.
But what was it? It was day 2 in Ahmedabad, Sols?
Yeah, was it? I think, one of those games ended on the second day. That must have been on Joe Root, took 5 for 8, which slightly suggests that Moran could have taken at least 2 for 70.
I did have a little bowl in the winter.
Okay, how did it go?
Well, Alex Hartley needed to get some overs in and refused to actually face me. She said it was too dangerous. Not because of the pace.
That's a Greg James, Jimmy Anderson moment, isn't it? When Greg knocked Jimmy over.
Which was a glorious moment. I was hitting the side netting. You know when you get a bit nervous?
Yeah, I've been there, but I've not quite hit the side netting.
Well, that might explain why you do what you do.
True.
And I do what I do. Here comes Jordan, bowling to Axar Patel, left-hander, pushing towards backward point. And there is no run. 1 ball left of the over, as we see another replay of that dismissal. And as he went hard at it, it wasn't much of a visual deflection. It was just, as you say, you heard it. Yeah,
heard a nice noise as it goes past, but you just never know. And the batter didn't look guilty. He did a wonderful job of styling it out, actually. It was a fantastic job of styling it out, but it didn't quite fox Joss Butler, who called for the review.
He's now on the list of the top 10 leading wicket takers. Chris Jordan right at the top in T20s. He's got 82. 9th on the list, Stephen Finn.
Yeah, second best average for Stephen Finn, though. He had a future, that chap.
Whatever happened? In comes Chris Jordan round the wicket. This is played elegantly but not dangerously towards short extra cover, and the over comes to an end. Couple of dots. The score 126 for 4. BBC Sport website and app, I should say. You can have a go. It's early doors, I know. Having a pick of your World Cup, a World T20 squad. which is taking place in Australia in the autumn. October, we'll have commentary on this, as we will the Women's T20 World Cup in South Africa in February. But in all seriousness, the next month or so, we've got 6 T20 matches for England's men. There's quite a lot of opportunity for players to put their hand up, particularly with some of those in the test side being rested, and say, you know, I should be on that plane.
Yeah, it provides opportunities, doesn't it? I think Joss Butler has even said in his interviews that he's done since he's become captain that he sees this as an opportunity to put people under pressure in international cricket and see how they deal with it, and that's going to be a great chance for people like Harry Brook, Matt Parkinson coming into the team in amongst some experienced internationals, but giving them an opportunity to be the match winner.
Liam Livingston then, in from the far end of the ground, bowling to Hardik Pandya, chopping away, rushing to the boundary for 4. But he got more of that than I anticipated. It went behind square on the offside, and he gave himself that little bit of width with the step to the leg side and played it firmly away for 4 runs.
Yeah, usually here at the Ageas Bowl, you'd imagine, especially shots like that off spinners, that the fielder on the cover boundary would cut that off, but lightning fast outfield here, as we've seen a few times this evening, beats him easily.
Livingston in the sunglasses as he in bowls. This is slap back past him. That's a good looking shot, and it could bring 4 more. It does. He's such a powerful player, Hardik Pandya. He's not one of those that's all muscle, but he does hit it a long way. 134 for 4.
8 of the last 9 overs, India set a boundary off the first or second ball, so getting on top early.
And that can be a game plan of many T20 teams. I've sat in team meetings where the plan is to put the bowler under pressure early in the over, so then they have to start going to change-ups. Liam Livingston there bowling leg spin first ball and off spin second ball.
Well, you think he would be someone that'll be on the plane to Australia, as he's in now. Long sleeves, shirt untucked, pushed gently into the offside. There'll be time for a single though. Good tumbling save from Moeen Ali, because he does offer that variation. The leg spin, the off spin.
He does, and you can't imagine that going down to Australia that you would pack your team with spinners as you would in a tournament in the subcontinent, say. So there's going to be probably one less space on the plane for someone who bowls spin, but knowing that that can be supplemented by Liam Livingston if needs be, if the conditions suit.
Here he comes now, round the wicket to bowl to the left-handed Aksha, who goes hard at that. Got a good piece of it as well, and is going to get 4. It's a good-looking shot that from Aksha Patel. First runs off the bat for him. And India move to 139 for 4 with a crisp drive through extra cover.
Just a little bit of width on offer there from Liam Livingston. Aksha Patel enjoying the respite from Chris Jordan to take down some spin.
Goes hard again, into the leg side this time. Fielder running in from the boundary will cut that ball off. Throw comes in from the distance. An expensive over, has 1 ball left in it. So far, 14 from it. India 140 for 4. Great atmosphere around the ground. Livingston in again, in the sunshine. Bowling, that's clipped towards mid-wicket. Livingston himself will run round to pick up. And the over concludes 1-4-1 for 4. Let me bring you up to date with what's happening in that T20 Blast quarter-final. Hampshire Hawks have lost both McDermott and Vince, both to Test match special zone, Carlos Brathwaite. McDermott for 61, Vince for 31. And so the Hawks find themselves 95 for 2 at the halfway point of the innings. Pressed and Weatherly out there in the middle for Carlos Brathwaite. 2 wickets from his first 2 overs as Deepdas Gupta joins us again, having done a reasonable job at dismantling the entire hotel room as he does so. Deep, what on earth have you done?
Listen, just helping Stephen out. Don't need that, do we?
What, the light fitting?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was only cramping our style, I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reasonable... The problem is, Finney stood up there and all 6'8" of him has managed to take out the light.
He's got a halo now.
He also did something criminal at the buffet earlier, Dee.
Really?
It just opened. No, it had just opened. Everyone was very excited, queuing up ready. Finney goes for the chicken curry, and he drops the ladle right in it all. Here comes Sam Curran. This is driven down the ground. It's going to bring a single, though. Jordan runs in from the boundary. Hardik Pandya moves to 28 149, 142 for 4.
Right, no wonder when I went for my food, I couldn't get my chicken.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, there's nothing to serve myself with.
All behind, because I'd fortunately gone ahead of Finney. All I heard was, oh, sorry.
Reminiscent when he dropped his slip catch and Brad wanted to make 250.
I mean, a similar impact, I would say.
Yeah, if you're going hungry.
Yeah, you'll go upstairs and find a lot of very grumpy journalists. Sam Curran then, bleach blonde hair, is preparing to bowl once more, running away from us.
These 2 overs are going to be tricky because you've got Reece Topley 1 over, Mills 2, Chris Jordan 2. Need to find 2 more overs.
In comes Curran. This is played gently, just pushed really up towards Jordan at long on. 1 more taken, 143 for 4.
Yeah, so this has been a decent over so far. 2 bowled, not too many as yet. But I wonder if these 2 batters are thinking, these 2 overs, Sam Curran and maybe the other over. That'll be interesting to see who Joss Butler goes to, because the other's been quite expensive. Parkinson's gone for 25 in his 2. Liam Livingston 15 in his 1. Moeen 26 in his 2.
Curran bowls, rather cramps Hardik up for room. He's played that brilliantly though. Runs away down to the boundary. He's going to get 4, and that is a really superb shot because there wasn't that much wrong with the ball. And Curran looks towards Hardik Pandya as if to say, well, I'm not really sure what more I could have done. It was just a late cut, really, running off the face of the bat and finding that gap down towards deep third for a boundary.
That's the thing. I'm not a big fan of left-arm seamers bowling over the wicket with third inside the circle, because you always have the opportunity as a batter to use that angle. Unless he comes around the wicket, he still has that third inside.
Curran again. This time it's a little bit straighter and pushed gently up towards mid-off for a single. 148 for 4.
34 off 17, Hardik Pandya, just 2 dot balls in that time. The crowd today are seeing something that no English cricket crowd has ever seen in a men's international match.
Hold on. Go on, Deep. Let's work this out. Is it Joss Butler captaining for the first time officially?
Nope.
Here comes Curran. This is swatted away as much as anything into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket for 1. 149 for 4. Go on.
3 left-arm seam bowlers bowling for the England men's team. It's happened in a couple of women's games. It's only the 4th time it's ever happened for England to have 3 left-arm seamers bowling the same innings, and all the other 3 were earlier this year overseas. A couple of the one-dayers in the Netherlands and a T20 game in the West Indies earlier in the year. But this is the first time on English soil.
Here comes Sam Curran. One of those as he runs in left-arm over on the hips of Hardik Pandya. He'll get 1 square on the leg side. And David Willey being another as the 150 comes up. 150 for 4 after 14 overs. It's a weird quirk, Deep, that England have got quite so many left-arm seam bowlers.
The other thing, almost all of them can bat. Apart from Mills, everyone can bat, and that's the thing. I mean, Stephen was talking about 350 is changeable. Well, if not 350, 250 it seems, because you bat till 10. Look at that English side. Everyone can bat except for Mills to a certain extent, and that's the danger. So batting first, you always are in that conundrum. What is a par score? There is a par score for a good pitch, and there's a par score for England on a good pitch.
I mean, it's difficult for England because you look at who they're missing, and Jofra Archer's not playing. Mark Wood, you'd expect them to be part of the T20 side, so they have to go for this left-arm group, if you like, with Mills, Curran, Topley. It's a conundrum. Here comes Parkinson. Forward comes Hardik, pushing the ball into the onside, and will pick up a couple of runs. He almost stumbles as he goes to the second, but gets home safely enough. And the score moves to 152 for 4. The floodlights are needlessly on. It's one of my great gripes about modern cricket. I mean, it's really sunny. They've been on all game. These huge 6 pylons. Anyway, at least we've got our reusable cups, eh? So here comes Matt Parkinson, and forward comes Hardik, and he almost plays on. Parkinson throwing up the tempter, and as Pandya came down the track, he tried to give it everything. Bottom edge, not far from the stubs.
Half the pads, it seems. Yeah, it was a big opportunity. I don't know whether you want to call it an opportunity or not, but I think there was a huge deflection as we look at that replay again. Steps out, a fair amount of dip. Yeah, that was a massive deflection off his back foot. Unlucky there, Parkinson and Joss Butler. That's good bowling. There's something, I mean, we haven't seen the ball gripping a lot, but there's fair amount of drift into the right-hander for Parkinson. Now what does Aksar do here? Slog sweep, got 3 fielders on the onside, boundary riders.
4 balls left in the over. Parkinson turning the ball into the left-hander. He goes hard at it and slaps that ball out towards wide, long off. For one, Akshar Patel doing a decent job at keeping the strike largely with Hardik Pandya. 154 for 4.
Yeah, it's important for Hardik to hang in there till the end. You've got Harshal who can bat, Bhuvi can bat a bit. Arshdeep actually is very, very handy with the bat. Parkinson
In. This is swept hard by Hardik Pandya. I fancy that's going to win the race to the boundary. Fielder running round does very well. It required stopping. And it was a good stop as well from Sam Curran because he had to make up a lot of ground. And prevents 4 runs. 156 for 4.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's been a decent over so far as compared to a couple of overs he's bowled before were quite expensive. So far so good. Needs to finish it now. Got 2 more to go in this over.
Pandya on strike. Parkinson in over the wicket. This is gently pushed defensively out towards cover and there's no run.
Yeah, taking his time, being sensible. That's the thing with Hardik in the last year or so, especially ever since he's become a captain of an IPL side. He's been batting really, really with a lot of maturity.
Parkinson in. Hardik goes big at that one. And we'll pick up all of 1. Doesn't quite get hold of it. End of the over. 15 gone. The score 157 for 4. Deepak Gupta is going to stay with us. And then we will be joined by Prakash Wakankar.
All right, thanks. Yeah, this is exactly what Joss Butler was looking at. Just try and get out the 5th or the 6th bowler now. You've got 5 overs left, and it's kind of straightforward, it seems, from here on. Mills got a couple of overs, Jordan's got a couple of overs, and Reece Topley 1. So there you go. 5 overs set, and it's going to be Jordan to bowl from near end as far as we are sitting.
The hotel end, as we call it here. So Chris Jordan into what will be his last over. His 3rd over, beg your pardon. And let's see what field he's got now as we get to the sort of closing stages. And of course Dinesh Karthik is
DK, yeah,
very much in the side deep. So he will play that role of finisher if he's required to. And that's probably why they sent Akshar up, just so that they follow that. You've got to explain this to me and to our listeners, this whole idea that the finisher can't have more than X number of overs.
Well, I think it's just basically simplifying things for DK. DK, as good as been and all the experience that he's got, I think at times he overthinks a situation. So I guess the idea from the team management is to really simplify and say, you know what, this is your job. You don't have to worry about anything else. Last 5 odd overs, just go out there and bat.
Yes, Jordan to Pandya. Pandya is beaten outside the off stump, looking to drive through the offside. Jordan's really been the best of the England bowlers by a long way today. The field for him, there's a man at deep third, a sweeper cover, 3 men in the ring on the offside, and 3 men in the deep on the boundary on the onside as well. A deep and wide mid-wicket. There's a man at deep square and a long leg to go along with the mid-on. That's Topley just at the edge of the circle. Moeen Ali mirroring him at mid-off. Malan is at extra cover. Here's Jordan into Pandya. Pandya can do no more than really just dab it away on the offside and pick up a single. Again, lovely delivery, just back of a length, rushed him a little, I thought.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And obviously you want to bowl that length because of the square boundaries being as long as they are. And he's got protection square of the wicket. So he's bowling that hard length. But what he's also done well is mixed up his bowling really well in terms of variations, the slower deliveries and everything else. He's kept the batter thinking all the time and on their toes. But now it's the 16th over. Akshar's going run a ball. What does he do? Because obviously, as we were talking about, this is the time when you expect DK to be out there and do his thing. Well, so Akshar, it's up to him. I mean, again, it's almost the same field as we had for Hardik. 3 fielders, 3 boundary riders on the onside.
Yes, absolutely. And round the wicket is Jordan, looking to then tuck him up, maybe just bowl that wide Yorker on occasion. This is exactly what it did, just a wide line, back of a length, rushing through, and all that Akshar Patel makes connection with is thin air as the ball goes through into the gloves.
Yeah, he just wanted to overhit that one. Really hit it hard, just missed it completely.
So Jordan, 2.5 overs now, 2 for 12, just 1 run from his last 6 deliveries, and the overall innings run rate is over 10, so he's gone up less than a run a ball.
That's got to have a bonus. It's just phenomenal, isn't it?
And look to go over point. If he bowls that hard length, place it.
Here's Jordan bowls, and this time down the leg side will be called a wide. So Akshar Patel, who came in at the fall of Suryakumar Yadav's wicket, which was again to Jordan with a change in pace, looking to lap it round, didn't get any pace off the ball, and ended up finding the man at 45. So 159 for 4 in the 16th. But as you were saying when you were on air with Henry, Deep, what is a par score when England are going to chase?
Has to get 220 at least, it seems.
Here's Jordan to Akshar Patel, who's got hold of the ball. How far has he got it? He's got it out into the deep, and in fact has got it to the boundary as well. It's a little bit deceptive here from the height at which we are. You see the sort of elevation that the ball gets, but it's sort of pitched in the outfield and then had cleared the fielder and reached the boundary. So 4 welcome runs from an Indian perspective there for Akshar Patel.
Yeah, and plays it really well because he was ready for it. He was ready for that length. He was well inside the crease because he knew it's going to be another back of the length, so he plays it in front of square.
Here's Jordan again, into bowl to Akshar Patel. He's up, he bowls, and this time he's played another lovely shot. He will get only a single, but he came down, waited for it, and eased it over the infield on the offside for a single for the sweeper cover to come off the field. 164 for 4. Hardik Pandya 41, Akshar Patel 13. And it's going to be Pandya to face the last ball of this 16th over.
Yeah, again, it's been a good over so far. Obviously, there was 1 boundary, but again, it seems like Hardik's kind of ready the way he's standing in his stance. It seems like he's deep inside the crease as well, waiting for that hard length.
What's Jordan got up his sleeve? Goes in, bowls. And Hardik is going to be, well, he was taken by surprise. The ball involuntarily hitting the bat as he was looking to just stand there, and it ballooned up to where 45 might have been, but comfortably through for a single. Very well bowled again. I think it did him with the pace of the wicket, I'd say.
Yeah, that was again quick and sharp. That kind of skidded through, and before Hardik could react, it just came and hit his gloves or maybe handle. He was lucky there.
Yeah, could have a couple of yards here or there towards Butler, and he could have been in trouble. Another fine over then.
Yeah, it's time for Akshar to kind of step on the pedal here. 13 of 10, he's done well so far. I think he's done the job. He was asked to rotate the strike, get Hardik on strike as much as possible. Now this is interesting. This is a bit of a gamble. Got Parkinson to bowl his 4th. Doesn't need to, but then a bit of a gamble. Yeah, was half a chance last time he bowled, a stumping opportunity. I won't call that opportunity, that was off the pads. But yeah, he created something. So this is going to be a really interesting over. Parkinson to Hardik and Akshar.
Yeah, the 17th over, as they say, always one that something happens in that over. So short third, backward point and extra cover inside the ring on the offside. Parkinson to Hardik Pandya. And Pandya looks to go big, makes no contact, and the ball thuds into his pads. This is where sometimes you feel the premeditation on Hardik's side is obvious even to the bowler.
Yeah, because obviously he sees a leggy bowling the 70. There's like he's got to go for it. He has to. And when you know you've got so many wickets, you've got 6 wickets in hand. Parkinson
into Pandya. And he doesn't actually deliver the ball, just to see if there was going to be a premeditated movement from Pandya. But he's rocks steady is Hardik, as he waits now again for Parkinson, who's up to the top of his bowling run. He's coming in now. Bowls and making some room is Pandya, and finding the boundary at long off without too much of an effort was his attempt. The ball ended up at long on off the thickish inside part of the bat, but as we looked on it, it looked as if the ball had streaked away to the long off region. But a single nevertheless.
He wanted to play with the turn, but obviously there was no intention of turning that one. Parkinson was bowled flat and with an angle.
There's Parkinson to Aksar. This will be a wide, and it is.
Right, so obviously Parkinson's going to bowl wide outside off stump for Aksar. He doesn't want Aksar to go onside. So the other option is, obviously there's a huge gap between long off and deep covers. That or right of deep covers is another option he's got.
Parkinson bowls down the leg side, and he's given it away there. Really a lollipop on the pads, and Aksar is not going to miss out.
Yeah, I mean, just when I said he shouldn't be bowling on the stumps, he does that. And as he rightly mentioned, it was a juicy full toss on the pads. Finds the gap, Aksar.
Just had to place it, which he was able to, and help himself to 4 runs. Here's Parkinson again, bowls to Aksar down the wicket. He's come, he's got this in the air, fielder getting underneath it, and he's been taken at wideish long off. But I think he's done his job. 171 is the score, and Aksar Patel will walk back to the pavilion. 17 of 12, and a good catch there off the bowling of Parkinson gets him his first wicket.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Flatter with the angle, going away from the left-hander and way outside off stump. Moved very early there, Aksar Patel, and very, very smart of Parkinson, because he kind of bowled further away from Aksar Patel, who wanted to go over extra cover, but then played it a little too early inside half of the bat, and a good catch in the deep. Aksar gone for 17 of 12. He's done a really decent job. I guess the job that he was asked of him. And India 171 for 5, 17th over. 3 more to go after this. And you've got Dinesh Karthik walking out. What can he do?
So the last time that Dinesh Karthik was here at Southampton, he was kind of in our tribe, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was sitting somewhere here.
He was doing commentary. I'm not sure where he was, but what a change in less than 2 years. He comes out for India to bat, but he's at the non-strikers end. 171 for 5, 2 balls to go in this over. Hardik Pandya on strike. Parkinson with a wicket under his belt comes in and bowls, and he's gone straight. Is he going to beat the fielder? Yes, he's cleared him. 6 runs to Hardik Pandya, straight over the bowler's head. The man at long off was interested for just a bit, and then it sailed over his head. So 177 now for 5 in the 17th. 1 ball to come. Flat batted, struck firmly. Just that sort of length that you don't want to bowl.
Yeah. Right in the slot, wasn't it? Right in the slot. Flat over long off. Last ball.
Here's Parkinson, last ball of the 17th to Pandya. Bowls, and Pandya comes down and pushes it away along the ground, and will pick up a single at extra cover, which means Karthik will stay at the non-strikers end. 178 for 5. 17 overs gone. A quick reminder, you can watch video clips during this game on the BBC Sport website and app. Go to the text commentary and you'll find the clips there. And BBC 2 will have full highlights show at 11:15 tonight. You can of course also watch them at your leisure on the BBC iPlayer. So cricket on the BBC.
That single brought up Hardik Pandya's first T20 international half-century. It's his 62nd game, his 43rd innings. It's an overall strike rate of 149 today. Brought up his 50 with his first 6 in addition to 6 fours, and it came from 30 balls.
That's the point you were making, isn't it? The nature of Hardik's T20 performances after the recent IPL in particular, just displaying a sense of responsibility and calmness and awareness of the situation.
Absolutely. Surprised a lot of people with the calmness, as you mentioned. How composed he was as a captain as well. Obviously led his side to the championship. But then also the fact that he can bat at number 3, 4. Obviously for India he bats more at number 5 and 6. But he has that ability and shown that he's got that ability to bat top of the order as well. Reece Topley now.
Topley into the attack again to Hardik Pandya. Comes in both. Pandya has an almighty swing, sends the ball, looking to send the ball over the infield on the onside. Doesn't make any contact at all.
Now, that's something where an area where a lot of bowlers have bowled to Hardik in the dead. The hard length. It's not a bouncer. It's not full because he's got this. He stands deep inside the crease with an open stance, and what he's looking is more like a baseball hitter.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to hit mid-wicket or mid-on. So if you try and bowl that hard length and with pace, can get difficult.
Topley bowls, and this time Hardik makes connection, but straight to the man at sweeper cover. A single is all he'll get. Now with Dinesh Karthik, I think Topley will obviously change his tactic because DK does have the ability to sort of maneuver the field a little bit.
I doubt even DK knows what he's going to do. Because obviously he's always been extremely talented. I mean, I'm talking about way back in 2004 when he first time I saw him was 2002, 2003. We were kind of contemporaries for a while. But then, he's always been extremely talented. He's got all the shots. It's just that to figure out and get the shot selection right. Well, what do we have here for DK now? We've got a third and a fine leg because he plays the lap very well on either side of the wicket.
Here's Topley into Dinesh Karthik, goes in and bowls first ball, and Karthik works it away on the onside. I don't think he quite got hold of it. Wait for the umpire's signal. Leg by probably. It is a leg by, but a run nevertheless. So 180 for 5. India's run rate 10.33. Hardik Pandya getting, as Andy just told you, his first 15 T20 internationals of 30 balls. He's on 51. Karthik yet to get off the mark. And Topley walking back to the top of his run. A bit of a chat with Chris Jordan.
Yeah, I just at times feel if Hardik can actually place it rather than try and hit it hard.
Waits again in that sort of typical Hardik stance. Waits, and this time he's got enough on it. He sliced it, man getting underneath it and takes it. So Hardik Pandya slices this one to the sweeper cover, and that's a very important wicket to get for England at the right time, I think, just at the middle of the 18th over. India 180 for 6. Hardik Pandya gone, caught about 10 yards inside the boundary at point.
That's the trouble. When you're trying to hit it as hard as Hardik does, chances are, as it is, you've got an open stance. You've lost your shape. So anything outside off stump, and again going away with the angle, more often than not, you're going to slice it just like you did this time around. Back of the length, hard length, quick, and he slices it.
The thing is, you know what you're going to get from Hardik. He gives it, he makes it, he broadcasts it very clearly. And an intelligent bowler will, more often than not, find that chink in his armour. But he is who he is. He's succeeded with that. He persists, but he's gone now. Gone for 51. And the run rate is just a shade over 10. India got to be careful here. They've lost 6 wickets now. There's still 2 overs to come after this. So 14 rather deliveries to come. And those can be a lot in a T20 game. Harshal Patel, the man in, replacing Hardik Pandya.
Well, obviously,
strike rate.
He opens for Haryana, his first class side in white ball cricket, so obviously he can bat.
Here's Topley to Harshal Patel. He's up, he bowls, and Harshal plays it sensibly out on the offside, picks up a run, and that'll bring Karthik on strike. 181 for 6. Last ball of the 18th over coming up. This has been Topley's best over by far.
Yeah,
it's gone for 33 of his 3.5 overs so far.
And now the onus is on DK actually. We're talking about India should get 220, or rather must get 220.
Well, 220 is going to get some getting from here. Last ball of the 18th. Topley to Karthik bowls, and Karthik defends on the offside and will pick up a run. So that's 18 done. 182 for 6 India. And with 12 balls in the innings left, Harshal Patel on 1, Karthik on 1. That's exactly what England would have wanted, to get 2 new batters together with the last 2 overs to be bowled.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, going back to what would be right from here on with 12 deliveries left, well, should get to 210 at least. I think 210, if not 220. Obviously 220 looks a little far-fetched as of now. Lost a little bit of momentum in a couple of overs in the middle, maybe the 14th odd over and the 15th. But yeah, 210 is doable.
And a perfect bowling change really from Butler, bringing in Chris Jordan for his last. He's been the pick of the bowlers. 3 overs, 2 for 19 for Jordan. And Karthik is going to be the man who will face him. So this is again going to be a crucial time in the game. 3 men on the onside boundary. There's a long leg, a deep backward square and a deep mid wicket, a deep third and a sweeper cover on the offside.
Right. So mid-off, mid-on inside the circle. So is the extra cover. What are the chances? First ball, DK stepping out?
Well, he'll need to look. He will look to, wouldn't he? Because that's where the open gap is. But instead he's pushed onto the back foot and he just defends it on the offside. A little bit inexplicable, that. Maybe conscious of the fact that there really isn't much batting to come now. 183 for 6. Karthik 2 of 3. Harshal 1 of 1.
I'm not too sure when you say not much batting. I think Arshdeep can bat all right. He's shown it in the last IPL. He's played a couple of very good innings. Bhuvi, who can hang around.
Yeah, but in T20 at this stage, you want someone who can strike the ball. Well, of course, everyone can nowadays. Just in relative terms, I'd say. Here's Chris Jordan to Harshal Patel. He's up, he bowls. Harshal makes room, has an almighty swing, and there is no contact into the gloves of Joss Butler. That's excellent bowling.
Yeah, you can't power head that length. That hard length, that 6 meter, 7 meter length. You've got to be smart here. Obviously, you're looking at mid-off, mid-on inside the circle. You're looking to go over them, but at that length, it's very difficult. And Chris Jordan he's got wheels.
Oh, sure, he's nippy. And, Harshal might be better served by just looking to sort of get it over the backward point fielder who's in the ring and give himself a good chance. But we'll see what happens. Here's Chris Jordan into Patel, comes in bowls. And once again, Harshal Patel only strikes thin air. This is excellent by England and by Jordan. They'll be very happy if they can keep India to 200 or just over. At one stage, it looked like 220 was there for the taking. Yes. And as you said, Deep, under the line, not able to quite gauge.
True. And he's ready for it. He's standing deep inside the crease. So obviously, he knows what length Chris Jordan is going to bowl. The third's very fine now for that uppercut.
Here's Jordan again. Up he comes, he bowls, and this time the third time in succession. This is quite extraordinary. And what's happened? Joss Butler has thrown down the stumps at the striker's end. Harshal got back in, I think, and the ricochet means that Karthik is able to run through. Smart thinking by Dinesh Karthik, but really it's been outstanding bowling by Chris Jordan. 1 run to the Indian total, which sort of suddenly seems to have hit a serious speed bump.
Absolutely. But having said that, brilliant over so far. Chris Jordan obviously is still bowling that length, but he's not giving any room to the Indian batters as of now.
What's Dinesh Karthik got up his sleeve? Here's Jordan, up bowls, and Karthik this time gets inside the line and just falling short of a diving Joss Butler on the leg side. Hats off. What an outstanding over this has been so far from Chris Jordan. Andy's got a quick bit for us, I'm sure.
Just 7 from the last 11 balls, 5 off the bat and a couple of leg byes from Topley's last over, and the 5 balls Jordan's bowled in this one.
So the 17th and 18th overs, which generally sort of lend that kicker to the innings, turning out to be a bit of a damp squib for India, with a good over from Topley now being followed up by a brilliant one from Jordan. Jordan bowls, and this time Patel gets some bat on it. Not enough to get him anything more than 1, and they will come back for the second as well. So excellent 19th over. Yields maybe 4 or 5 runs at the most. 187 for 6, 19 gone, and England have made a very strong comeback in these last 2 overs.
Absolutely, yes. And what an over this one, sir. And right through this game, right through this innings, Chris Jordan has been absolutely fabulous. 2 for 23 in his 4 in a 190-200 game. That is some bowling, some spell from Chris Jordan.
Right, so who's going to bowl the 20th? Looks like it's Mills, and he's going to bowl to Dinesh Karthik. Well, it's make or break time here, Deep. India will, at this point, be a little bit concerned, particularly given the way they were till at about 16 over mark. Between 17 and 19, England have really pulled things back.
Yeah, the last 4-5 overs been very, very good for England. But here we go, last 6 deliveries. DK on strike. Can he do something here? Can we see some magic from DK's bat? Last 6.
Let's take a look at the field then. There's a deep third, there's sweeper cover, 2 men on the offside and 3 on the on again. Long leg, deep backward square and deep mid wicket. mid-on, mid-off and extra cover with a backward point inside the 30-yard circle. Here's Mills, first ball of the last over. And Karthik has cleared the man at mid-off with a lovely shot, one bounce boundary. That's a good start to the over for Karthik, not so much for Mills. 191 for 6.
Yeah, got a little too full, Mills. As we're talking about the field placement here, the mid-off, mid-on, inside the circle. You can't afford to be full. And that's exactly what happened here. Too full to Karthik. Gets in the toe end of the bat, but has enough on it. One bounce and into the ropes.
Again, staying over the wicket there, Mills. Hop step. Away he goes from the hotel end into Dinesh Karthik. Bowls. And Karthik has again almost repeated the shot with a flat batted forehand down the line. 4 runs, 195 for 6.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that delivery. Shot, but not quick enough. Or rather, DK was ready for it. Was looking for that length. He was looking exactly at that area to hit.
That's brought Joss Butler up to the bowler. And there will be a change in field, I guess. The third's being brought into the circle. And the man, or is it just a change of personnel? Moeen Ali moving from his position in the ring at backward point. Coming down to mid-off. Third comes in and mid-on goes down onto the boundary. That's Chris Jordan just below us on our right. And he's coming now round the wicket to try and tuck Dinesh Karthik up. Away he goes. Comes in and bowls, and Dinesh makes room for himself, and he's gone up in the air. Two fielder getting underneath it. Oh, what an outstanding catch. What a brilliant catch that is. Fielder running back from backward point. Dinesh Karthik made some room, wanted to go over the offside, didn't get enough. Karthik's gone, 195 for 7. Outstanding catch.
Oh, phenomenal. Phenomenal from Sam Curran. Got a top edge. Again wanting to go over mid-off. Slower delivery. The back of the hand, which actually bounces a little more. So top edge. And what a catch from Sam Curran. Had to run backwards, go 10 yards, and then had to put in a dive as well. Anything over the shoulder anyways is so difficult, but this time around he actually had to make a lot of ground as well. Dinesh Karthik, cameo. 11 of 7, India 195 for 7 with 3 more deliveries left in this innings.
Yeah. What an outstanding athlete and what an outstanding cricketer Sam Curran is, really. There almost seems to be nothing that he can't do. That was not by any stretch a catch that was normal. It needed a special effort, running back, seeing the ball over the shoulder and then putting in the dive just at the right time and latching onto it. So that's an important breakthrough again in the closing stages, and Mills will stay round the wicket to Harshal Patel. Even run rate of 10 and over, and it's Mills into bowl now. Comes in and bowls to Patel, and Patel gets a slower ball. He can't do much with it. Back of the hand again, and they're going to take a single, and Harshal could be out. He is out. Joss Butler, this was quite extraordinary what we saw just now. The ball falling just at the feet of the batsman. Bhuvneshwar Kumar calling Harshal Patel through. Yes, no, wait, maybe. Bhuvneshwar continued forward. Almost as a last resort, Harshal Patel runs towards the non-striker's end. And an accurate throw from Joss Butler with his right glove off means that Harshal Patel is run out and India lose yet another wicket.
The idea was right from Harshal. He wanted to be on strike for the last ball of the innings. But then obviously Bhuvneshwar, the senior player, wanted to get on strike. Couple of times Harshal said no, but then he had to run. But yeah, needed a direct hit and got one from Joss Butler. 195 for 8 now, India.
2 balls to come. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar, having now achieved his primary objective, as it seemed, of the previous ball, which was to get on strike, needs to make these 2 count. Can he? We will have to wait and watch. But a lovely delivery that from Mills. The slower back of the hand, full delivery, and Harshal Patel played all over it. It was obviously going down the leg side, struck him on the boot, just lobbed in front of him, and the result was a run out at the non-striker's end. Great throw from Joss Butler again. Here's Mills now. Goes away from us, round the wicket, bowls, and a good connection there, but not directed well enough to get more than a single, and he's on a death wish again. He's Bhuvaneshwar, this time firmly sent back by Arshdeep, and that means there'll be just a single. Last ball of the over coming up. India may not get to 200. 3 overs ago we were talking about possibilities of 220, and England will feel very, very comfortable about how they've pulled things back in the last 4 overs particularly.
Absolutely, yes.
Just so far 18 runs from the 17 balls in overs 18, 19 and 20.
There we are.
Wow.
Tells the story. 18 runs.
In a couple of things, obviously England would be very, very happy if they can actually keep India less than 200, but also the confidence, at times we call it the momentum as well. It's obviously a momentum shift here. Last ball, Arshdeep on strike.
First ball in international cricket for Arshdeep as well, on debut. Last ball of the innings. Mills over the wicket to Arshdeep, bowls, and Arshdeep has managed to get off the mark. They'll keep running, I guess, as the return will come in. Where is it going? It's going to the keeper's end, and Arshdeep will make his ground. So 2 more runs. India do not get to 200, and that England will consider as a very, very big achievement given the way how the bulk of the Indian innings went. 198 for 8 India at the end of 20 overs, and almost for the first time in the innings the rate drops below 10. 9.9 is the rate at which India finally scored. 198 for 8 as Bhuvaneshwar and Arshdeep walk back to the pavilion.
Yeah, I would be a little disappointed with that effort in the last few overs. The Indian side, they would be thinking they've left a few out there in the middle. Should have got at least another 10.
So let me ask you this, Deep, and then I'll hand over to Henry. Do you think India have got enough?
I wouldn't say India's got enough, but that's a very good score. I mean, let's not take anything away from that. At almost 200, for 199 to win, it's never easy chasing down 199 because you got to go at 10 and over from the very first ball. So yeah, I mean, couple of wickets. I mean, end of the day, it's all about wickets because England got enough firepower in their batting. So you don't pick wickets, they'll chase it down. So end of the day, it's about picking wickets here.
England do have a lot of firepower though, Deep. They bat a long way, this England
Number
side.
10.
Well, you look down that lineup and you've got Roy, Butler, Malan, Livingston, Brook, Ali, Curran, Jordan. There's a lot of power in that lineup, and so the potential for England to go hard from the off, to give themselves that head start, you'd have thought is right there.
Absolutely, and that's where picking wickets would be the key here for India. I mean, you can't stop these batters from scoring runs at a brisk rate. So the only way to stop England would be picking up wickets.
As Dan Nixon tweets at BBC TMS, no need to worry. Root and Bairstow will knock these off inside of 15 overs. Well, sadly, no Root and Bairstow in this side, but you would have thought that Johnny Bairstow will be a key part of England's side in T20 World Cup action later on this year in Australia. We will have that all for you as well. Let me bring you quickly up to date with what's happening in the T20 Blast quarter-final, because that game is ongoing at Birmingham. Hampshire Hawks against the Birmingham Bears. Hampshire at the moment 184 for 5. 4 balls left in the innings, with Carlos Brathwaite, who's going to be part of our team in the 3rd T20 International on Sunday. He's taken 3 for top scoring in the innings so far. Ben McDermott with 61 from 36 balls. Coverage of that is on the BBC Sport website, an app where you will also find in-play clips and highlights from this game, as you will all internationals, men's and women's, throughout the summer. And I should say this evening at 11:15 on BBC Two, a full highlight show of this game. What highlights will there be from the second innings, Stephen Finn? That is the question. How do you see that as a target? 199.
Well, it's not half as bad as I think England anticipated it might be, and we anticipated it might be after 10 overs. We said that England would need to take wickets to try and expose that longish tail of the Indian batting lineup, and I think that they did that in the second half. I think India will have watched England bowl and realised what worked and what didn't. Keeping the ball very straight and changing your pace from straight and into the wicket and making the batters hit square seemed to be the way to go. England maybe got hit fine in the V and then the reverse V a little bit too much in the first part of their innings, which meant that India got an absolute flyer, and also we saw some swing for Reece Topley, and you would imagine if there's swing to be exposed, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is going to find it. So you anticipate that it may be a challenge to chase these runs down, but saying that, as the sun sets and the lights take hold here, we may see some dew, we may see the wicket just skip on that little bit better in the second half of the game, which towards the back end of this innings could mean that England's power hitters, and they do have a lot of them, can come in and really make a fist, as long as they set some sort of platform in these first 6 overs, and who better to have to do that than Jason Roy and Joss Butler.
Well, indeed, and England are missing players because of their commitments to the Test side. Ben Stokes, Johnny Bairstow, Adil Rashid is in Saudi Arabia at the moment. And so they are missing some crucial players, and you'd have thought those are all names that'll be in the side come the T20 World Cup. But particularly when you're looking at the bowlers and the absence of Adil Rashid, Matt Parkinson comes in as the leg spinner, 4 overs, 1 for 44. How do you think he went?
I think he got hit for 2 or 3 boundaries in his first over, didn't he? Not executing, or not quite executing what he would have hoped to, but I thought that he adjusted well as the innings went on and bowled a lot straighter and asked the batters to hit across the line much more as the innings went on. He bowled some tough overs there as well towards the end of the innings, which Owen Morgan typically asks Adil Rashid to do, and now Joss Butler's captain, he's asking his leg spinner to do a very similar thing. So yeah, and again, to go at just over 10 and over as a leg spinner in this format against an Indian team, bowling at the times that he did, I mean, he won't be that happy with his figures, but I don't think he can be overly disappointed either.
Hardik Pandya, top scored for India, 51 from 33 balls. A number of players got in. Sharma 24, Deepak Hooda 33, Suryakumar Yadav 39. Maybe a little frustration nobody went on for that sort of 70-80 score. Yeah,
I think when you're batting with a long tail, you do want one of those players to end up batting all the way through the innings, but in the nature of T20 cricket now, if you're not striving to always exceed what you think you might get, then you're sort of failing at the game, and that's the way that England have brought this game forward, and other teams are now trying to adopt that for the fear that England may chase down whatever they post, and that's a wonderful place to be for England. So yeah, India will be disappointed that someone didn't go on and get a bigger score, but there were contributions all the way through, and 200 is a very good score in T20 cricket.
No Owen Morgan in this side, so perhaps a little bit of experience is missing, but Harry Brook gets a second chance in T20 international cricket, made his debut in the winter in West Indies. He's an exciting talent and somebody that you'd think would have a number of England caps in a few years' time.
Yeah, we don't want to jinx him, as we typically like doing up here in the TMS commentary box, but he certainly looks as though he's got the attitude and the technique to be able to deal with international cricket. He's been a consistent run scorer at a decent clip in domestic cricket in T20s, especially in the last couple of years. Has scored a lot of runs in all formats this season for Yorkshire. And that responsibility of playing for a big county like Yorkshire and being one of the main men there will stand him in good stead when it comes to batting in the middle order in this team. And as Joss Butler's mentioned a number of times since he's become captain, he'll be encouraged to go out there and play his natural game, which is a slight cliche statement to make, but if you get the Harry Brook that's been playing for Yorkshire and that version of himself coming out here today batting in England's middle order, they'll be very happy.
Yeah, look at his last 5 innings. 21, 29, 67, 35, 77. He's not, I mean, 21 is not as many as he'd like, but he's not failed to contribute in any time in the last little run in T20 cricket.
No, certainly not. And again, he's someone that has been very reliable, and he'll take confidence from that. You always want to pick people when they're making their first few England games when they're in form. You don't want to be throwing people in on the basis of talent when they're out of form, because that can do them some damage. So he should take great confidence from the way that he has shaped up so far for Yorkshire in the Blast, and hopefully this evening for him he'll be able to showcase the talent that he has in front of this wonderful crowd.
There are some, Finney, that say Joss Butler is in the form of his life. He can win any game for any side, for almost any position. Why burden him with the captaincy? You know him better than I. How do you think he'll respond to that added pressure?
Fantastically. I think he's always been earmarked as the successor to Owen Morgan. I think there's been no doubt from within the dressing room that would be the case. I think Moeen Ali's done well on the occasions that he's led the team, but Joss is such a natural-born leader. Speaking to him about cricket and the way that he breaks situations down, and the way that he really sets the example both physically and mentally within the team, I think he's the perfect person to take this team forward, and I very much look forward to him growing into the role and putting his own twist on the basics that has been set by Owen Morgan. I think it's going to be a really exciting time to watch English cricket.
interested me in that chat I had with him yesterday, saying, live around the corner from Owen Morgan, we're good mates, we meet up to talk cricket and talk life and everything else. Do you reckon they'll be in touch a bit? Do you reckon he'll call up Owen Morgan and say, do you know what am I going to do here?
Maybe not necessarily what am I going to do here, but I'd imagine as a captain you do reach crossroads every now and again, and you have to make significant decisions, and Owen would have done that at times through his captaincy, whether that's dropping players or picking certain players ahead of people to play in a tournament. And I think that they've done those or made those decisions very well, and as a leader, I mean, I did it very briefly for Middlesex for a couple of years, but you need a support network of people around you that you can trust and bounce opinions off, and who better to have living a couple of 100 yards away than the former captain of England, who arguably will go down as one of English cricket's greatest ever captains.
It'd make a great goggle box.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what they get up to watching though on Gogglebox. The odd bit of cricket and a few other things as well.
T20 blast. Yeah.
Yes.
Can imagine. Right, I'm getting out of the way because Prakash Rakankar is standing by. The openers are heading to the middle. The shadows are lengthening, and England have 199 to chase Stephen Finn. In a moment, we'll be joined by Prakash Rakankar.
These Indian players will know just the damage that Joss Butler can do in the opening parts of the innings. Some of them would have played with, and all of them would have played against Joss Butler at some stage in the last few months, and seen how destructive he's been in the IPL, and they will know how big this wicket is in the first few overs. But yeah, Joss Butler here, captain, he'll be wanting to set the standard, set a mark for the way that his team wants to play.
Absolutely he would. And really, I mean, if you think of the last IPL, it has to almost go down like as Joss Butler's IPL, because he was, yes, he had a little bit of a patch in between where he wasn't getting 100 every time he went out to play, but the manner in which he got those runs, he decimated bowlers. He wasn't attacking he demolished them. Andy?
In the IPL 17 innings, 863 runs, average 57 runs per dismissal, and a strike rate of 149 per 100 balls. It's the second highest aggregate in any IPL season. Only Virat Kohli back in 2016 with 973 has scored more in a single edition of that competition.
I suspect that Virat Kohli total might have come with more games, Andy. Can you just check that for me?
No, he only had 16 innings. Kohli averaged 81 and an even better strike rate of 152.
Well, continuing my argument, was most of them, or half of them, would have been in Bangalore, which is a very small ground. Clutching at straws here.
863 is also, by coincidence, the number of runs Joss Butler scored in his last 20 T20 internationals for England at an average of 66 and a strike rate of 146, and he's been particularly productive since moving up to open the batting.
There we go. So we're about to get underway. Jason Roy is the batter who's going to take strike. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar has the ball in his hand. There's a slip in place, and a third man, Harshal Patel, down below us to our right from our commentary position here at the hotel end, and 4 men inside the ring on the offside, 2 on the on, and the 2 deep fielders are, as I said, a third and a long leg, Arshdeep Singh on debut. What a movement for that young man. He'll have the ball in his hand sooner than later, I think, and he'll be looking forward to this occasion. Here's Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, first ball to Jason Roy, and there's a bit of movement there straight away, and Roy just feeling for it a bit, through to the keeper.
Yeah, we saw Topley get some swing at the front end of the India innings. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's seen perfectly pointing towards first slip that's positioned in place to find that outside edge. Lovely swing bowling, and something I like seeing as a bowler is just that little bit of movement that can make you feel like you're not just cannon fodder as a bowler running up.
Shadows just beginning to lengthen, right to left as we look down on the ground. Bhuvaneshwar comes in and bowls. Good delivery again. Pushes Jason Roy back onto his back foot, defends on the offside, and Rohit Sharma comes in and fields. Does that sort of shadow, as it's in this phase, Finney, cause any trouble at all, either to the bowler or particularly to the batter?
I think the fielders more. If you're fielding out on that deep square leg boundary, you can't see a thing. And we saw a few people in the first innings not really pick balls up when it went over there, and that'll be a combination of the background of the crowd, but certainly that low-lying sun.
Here's Bhuvaneshwar bowls, and this is another absolute beauty, isn't it? caught in no man's land there, Jason Roy, looking to work it onside and just hung his bat out there, lucky not to get an edge.
It's like watching test match bowling this from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Again, seam pointed perfectly towards first slip and squares Jason Roy up. And this now, no surprise, we're seeing a second slip going because they're bowling big booming outswingers here.
Yeah, so Rohit Sharma coming into second slip. That's a bit of a rarity in T20 cricket. Two men catching behind the bat. And that's left acres on the onside. Anything there is going to go away. What's Roy going to do? Bhuvaneshwar bowls. He does get onside and plays it away to Chahal, who moves round from mid-on to field. So England off the mark with a single.
Yeah, almost inevitable that Jason Roy would walk right across his stumps there and try and flip that into the onside. Interestingly, the fine leg fielder stayed right in the position that he's been since the first ball, which is quite fine and creates a huge gap between him and the mid-on fielder. The field stays the same for Joss Butler, which I like as a move. If Joss wants to walk across and try and flip it into the leg side first ball, then good luck to him, but he's going to have to take a risk to do so.
Here's Bhuvaneshwar now to the England captain. He's in, he bowls, and he's bowled him off his pads. What a terrific delivery. Bowled booming out swingers, brought that one back into the England skipper, who was really completely at sea. Hit him on the pads, ricocheted onto the stumps, and that is a massive wicket for India. Butler gone, in England 1 for 1.
Incredibly skillful piece of bowling here from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. The seam pointing towards leg slip, or where a invisible leg slip would be fielding, and this ball just arcs in and wraps Joss Butler on the pads and cannons into the top of his middle stump, and you can hear the cheers here from the Indian crowd. They like that. We're sat right behind Joss Butler at the striker's end, and that ball really did curve in from outside off stump and did him all ends up. Wonderful bowling, a double bluff there because the field was just set for outswingers, and that ball, like he's got it on a piece of string, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar just tails it back in. Bowls Joss Butler, huge wicket.
Huge wicket, absolutely. When he's on song, he's got to be one of the finest movers of a cricket ball.
I can't understand why he doesn't play more test match cricket, and why he'd be an absolute handful with a Duke's ball, you'd imagine.
With the 2021 batch or the 20?
Well, yeah, not the 2021 batch.
Yes, I think he's actually been sort of plagued with injury as well, Bhuvaneshwar. Good to see him back in the midst of things. And as David Malan comes out to replace his skipper, the two slips remain in place. This is good captaincy by Rohit Sharma. And for Malan then, two slips, square third, backward point, cover mid-off on the offside, mid-on. The diminutive figure of Ishan Kishan almost lost in the shadows, and a man at long leg, that's Harshal Patel. Here's Bhuvaneshwar with the last ball of his very successful over so far. Comes in and bowls to Malan, and Malan, I think it's come off the bat or the pad, I'm not sure. It's running down below us. There's pace on the ball. They'll come back for two. Wait for the umpire's signal there, but that did again come back into the right-hander, so it was leaving the left-hander, and the umpire's signal is leg byes. Terrific delivery that, as we watch it on the replay, Steve.
Yes, a big in-swinger. Again, the field set for an outswinger from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. David Malan almost looking for that with the slips in place, but arcs back into him. Must have hit him outside the line of off stump.
Had to have.
Wonderful bowling.
It's a great first over. Absolutely terrific from Bhuvaneshwar. Reminds me so much of another bloke who used to do that for India way back, was Praveen Kumar, who really would move the ball and was able to move it both ways, almost at will. Right, so debut over. What's going through Arshdeep Singh's mind here? First game for India.
Well, he's in a good position. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar has set him up nicely for this second over, and his batters have really given him something to bowl at, so he'll just be thinking wickets here. settle into it, get your first ball out the way. My first ball in international cricket went for 4, so hopefully that doesn't happen to him, but get your first one out the way and then you can just take a big deep breath, settle and really concentrate on what you're doing.
I wish he could hear that, the young man. That's very sound advice indeed. Here he goes, first ball for his country. Must be a great feeling. Arshdeep is up, bowls, and he brings that back into Jason Roy, who's struck somewhere in the midriff area. No run. The ball suddenly started doing something.
Yeah, noticeable swing in there. Lovely shape back into the right-handed Jason Roy. And skips onto him as well. Just beats him for pace on the inside edge. And when you haven't seen guys bowl or face them too much, just those first few balls, it takes you a little bit to pick up their action, to pick up the shape that they have on the ball. And that hit him quite hard on the inside thigh as now Jason Roy waves up towards us, asking people below us to sit down or stop wandering around behind the bowler's arm, as if that was the reason why he missed it.
Yeah. Pointing at somebody who's obviously got the umpire, got the batsman's line of sight. And Hardik telling him to move as well. The first time, in all fairness, we've had that problem here in the game so far. I mean, short of physically moving the man, Hardik's done everything.
He's almost gone right up to him, isn't he?
Yes, he has, hasn't he? Slip, backward point, cover point, mid-off, extra cover on the offside. Just one slip there. And 3 men on the onside, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a man in the shadows of that stand at long leg. Here's Arshdeep running away from us from the hotel end to Jason Roy. He's in, he bowls close to the stumps, and Roy comes down the wicket and with a big hoik and misses everything through to the keeper.
That's the beauty of having 200 on the board here. India, you can see them swarming like a big rubber band contracting around the batters every time the ball goes past the edge. You'll feel that as a batter as you're there, stood there. You'll feel all those Indian players coming in towards you each ball. It's been a wonderful start for Arshdeep. 2 big booming in swingers down the leg side technically, but tucking Jason Roy up for room there and not allowing him any room to free his arms.
Destructive batsman Jason Roy, when he's on song, likes to free his hands and get off to a brisk start. Here's Arshdeep into Roy again, comes in and bowls, and this time he pushes it away on the offside. Rohit Sharma fields at short extra cover, no run. 3 for 1 in the second, England. It's a very good start by India.
Very skillful start actually for the bowlers. We've seen 2 in swingers from Arshdeep, and then that one pushed across Jason Roy. Jason Roy has to check his shot. Just having a look again at the different variations that this bowler has when you've not faced him before. You don't notice the different arm paths and stuff, so skillful here from Arshdeep. A fantastic start, none for none off 0.3. I don't think you could dream of a better start in T20 cricket, minus taking a wicket.
Here's Arshdeep again. Nice easy run up to the wicket. Angular comes in bowls, and this one's down the leg side. It'll run away for a leg by or 2. They think of the second, a bit of a fumble there by the fielder, and that'll allow the second run to be taken. So 2 more runs to the total. England move to 5 for the loss of Joss Butler in the second over. Roy is on 1. Malan is yet to get off the mark, and Arshdeep will go back to the top of his run, thinking maybe he just needs to get his line a little bit more off stumpish if he's going to get that ball to come back in.
Yeah, maybe. I think if he's thinking greedily, maybe he'll think like that to try and knock Jason Roy's poles out. But teams typically now to Jason Roy will just try and tuck him up for line, knowing that anything on or around the line of off stump allows him the room to free his arms. We can see here all 3 stumps looking at us here behind the bowler's arm as Arshdeep runs in again.
He's up again, bowls, and this one went away, and again a stand and deliver booming drive attempted. No contact at all, and Arshdeep hasn't actually bowled a bad over by any stretch. He's brought the odd ball in, he's got one to go away with the angle, and Roy is, as you said, Finney, maybe just trying to get a bit of a hang of where this young lad bowls and how he bowls.
Yeah, big away swinger this time. It's amazing actually to see a white ball swinging this much. Typically you think it has maybe 1 over in it of swinging around, but because the batters haven't actually laid a bat on it yet, it's not deteriorated at all.
Last ball of the over from Arshdeep, bowls to Roy, strikes him on the pad, There's a big appeal. I think I heard a woody sound, did you?
A woody sound, and I think it's almost doing too much, but what a wonderful over. First over in international cricket, in 2020 international cricket, and he's bowled a maiden.
Yeah, just the two leg byes. So England are 5 for 1, 4 of them off the pads.
And I'm not sure when an Indian bowler in his first over in international T20s bowled a maiden. Something for Andy to look at, which I'm sure he'll find. He's got all these buttons and shortcuts, Vinny. He knows everything.
It's phenomenal, yeah. We tried to challenge him through the winter to find some niche stats,
and he
managed to find them all, yeah, every single one.
Right, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar with his second over, the third of the innings, comes in and bowls to Malan, who shoulders arms, lets it go through outside the off stump. 5 for 1.
It's got a test match feel to it, this, doesn't it? 5 for 1 off 2.1.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, in that second innings at Edgbaston, the Indian bowlers wouldn't have minded if they'd started like that.
Yeah, and a leave as well, the lesser
too.
seen leave in T20 cricket, yeah, but we know Diver Malan is the sort of guy who likes to just get his innings underway, likes to feel the ball on the bat. He's now asking people to sit down behind the bowler's arm. I can't see anyone up there stood down unless he's looking at the top of the stands, which would be an extraordinary place to be looking whilst the bowler's running in. It's very fussy, David. I played with him at Middlesex for a long time, from when we were kids, and always in the nets there'd be someone just in his eye line at the back. He wouldn't be happy with them.
Yes, Bhuvaneshwar into Malan, and Malan drives past the bowler, or attempted past the bowler. Bhuvaneshwar gets a hand on it, takes the sting out of it, maybe the bottom part of the bat. 5 for 1 it remains. This is a very tight start by India, and England will be conscious and cognizant of the fact that they know they can power on later. So important not to allow too many inroads, isn't it, at the top of the order, though they bat so deep.
That's it, and whilst this ball's swinging, this is the danger period for these England players. As soon as it's not swinging, you'd like to think that those guys down the order can come in and be more destructive, but also you don't want to leave yourselves with too much to do. We know this team has power, but sometimes you don't have enough power to meet the target that India have set, and 199 is a significant target.
Harshal Patel just being moved a bit square at long leg, and the offside field being strengthened with Ishan Kishan coming in at point. Malan gets inside the line and whips it over. This will be the first boundary of the bat. Whipped away on the onside, got way across the offside on his off stump, and then just helped it over what might have been the infield on the onside, well away from the man at mid-on. A good 4 runs to get off the mark.
Yeah, pure timing. Attempted away swinger, but Diver Malan steps right across into the channel outside off stump and challenges Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to try and beat his outside edge or find his outside edge from there, and it immediately brings a field change. The cover fielder comes across to mid-wicket. No other changes. Still 2 slips in place because the ball is swinging, but you'd imagine a couple more shots like that and this field will relax.
Bhuvaneshwar, straight easy run up to the wicket bowls, and it's run down very nicely to third. Arshdeep comes off the fence, fields, and there'll be a comfortable single. 10 for 1 in the third, and that'll bring Jason Roy back on strike. He's on 1, Malan's on 5. Man out, Joss Butler bowled off his pads by Bhuvaneshwar Kumar in the first over. And now the second slip's been done away with for Jason Roy facing Bhuvaneshwar. Suryakumar Yadav, the lone slip. Harshal Patel down at third. The Indian fielders scurrying all over the outfield at the moment. There's a lot of energy there. As you said, with the total backing them, they probably feel energized enough. Here's Bhuvaneshwar again, in to bowl to Roy. Comes in, bowls, and this one angled back, played down to mid-on. They'll run with the stroke, and the shy at the non-striker's end will not trouble him at all. It's 11 for 1 in the third. That ball again swinging back into Roy, but there's still appreciable movement.
There is, and surprisingly so after 2.5 overs, but I think that's probably indicative of the amount of balls that have actually come off the bat, which has been minimal. The runs were off, I mean, the 4 of the first 5 runs were off the pad, and only 1 boundary so far, so the ball just needs to hit the bat a few more times, and that allows the ball just to get a few cracks and a few scuffs on both sides, and then it will stop swinging. But for the time being, whilst this ball's brand new, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is so dangerous.
And the second slip is back in place for Malan, facing Bhuvaneshwar. He's in from the shadows, comes in and bowls, and it's worked out on the onside. They'll take a single to the man coming in, Yuzvendra Chahal from the mid-on region. 12 for 1. Malan 6, Roy 2 at the end of 3 overs.
Creeping their way through this power play. I'm not sure what England's worst ever power play is, Salts, in T20 cricket.
Right.
But
I'll put that in the intro, but I can confirm that Arshdeep Singh is the second Indian bowler to begin his T20 international career in men's cricket with a maiden. And the previous bowler to do so was Ajit Agarkar in India's first ever T20 international in 2006 against South Africa.
Wow. I stand up and salute you, sir. But I can tell you that he's the first Sikh playing for India who has bowled a maiden on debut. Well, unbelievable. The kind of information that you can get from Andy Zoltzman. Here's Arshdeep now with the second over of his career in a T20 international for India. Field being moved around. The man at long leg just moved a little bit squarer. Lone slip, backward point, cover mid-off on the offside. Here's Arshdeep into bowl to Malan. Malan moves inside the line and goes a big hike, balls in the air, fielder running after it. I don't think he'll get there. It would have been one of the most remarkable catches had Hardik Pandya got there. It was high in the air, it was in the air for a long while, but I don't think Hardik Pandya finally got anywhere within striking distance. They come back for 2. It's 14 for 1.
it was in the air a long time. It's a thick top edge from David Malan, but with a fine leg in play, which is actually quite unusual bowling in the first 6 overs. You would usually anticipate the fine leg to be up and the deep square leg to be out, but here the fine leg is back, and it means that there's a big gap on the onside boundary from fine leg all the way round. It means that David Malan will almost feel as though it's a free hit to walk across the stumps and try and chip it into that gap.
Okay, he's still got some movement behind the bowler's arm. He seems satisfied now, and Arshdeep once again into bowl to Malan. Comes in, bowls, and this one's defended on the onside. He's getting a bit of bounce as well as Arshdeep here. That one struck Malan quite high up on the bat. 14 for 1.
He's a wiry individual, isn't he? He's got a lovely tall action and fantastic wrist, which you don't get that movement that he's getting through the air without a wonderful wrist position. So it means that you get a lot of your hand behind the ball, and the guys who get all of their hand behind the ball are the ones who get real energy and kick out of the wicket. And Arshdeep here is really impressive in the way that he gets through the crease, bowls with a high arm and manages to hit the track hard.
Away he goes again. To bowl to Malan, who's still at his crease, bat raised, good delivery again. Took him a bit by surprise, and Malan lets it go through. Another one of the young brigade for India. Impressed in the IPL, couple of seasons now, and has been rewarded with a call into the Indian side. 14 for 1 in the 4th over.
Yeah, that delivery there is reading the game situation, knowing that David Malan will be looking to get himself onto the front foot. The fine leg has now come up into the ring, and the deep square goes out onto that big onside boundary, places himself right in the line of the setting sun.
Arshdeep away from us into Malan, who moves offside, and this time he's got hold of it. Very, very firmly struck straight into the mid-wicket boundary. 2 or 3 bounces, and that's a welcome boundary for England. 18 for 1 in the 4th.
Well struck, and the sort of shot that does stop the ball swinging. So David Malan will be happy, England will be happy. Slightly short from Arshdeep, not quite the same length that he's managed to bowl so far, hitting the splice, and David Malan, being the class player he is, can rock back onto the back foot and swat it away between that big gap between the deep square leg fielder and the mid-on fielder.
Something about left-handed batters, isn't it? They play the same shot, they just look so much more elegant. Here's Arshdeep in again to Malan. Up he goes, bowls, and Malan this time drives, and he'll get 4 runs in front of the man running in from a very square third. So back-to-back boundaries for Malan. He's got underway. England getting some momentum into the innings now. 22 for 1 with 1 ball in the 4th to come.
The point fielder. Arshdeep doesn't look happy with his point fielder there, and as the sun's setting, half the ground is in shade and half the ground is in direct sunlight, and that just means that picking up the ball can become that little bit harder. And the point fielder there, as the ball's flashed past him, it wasn't hit particularly hard, it sounded like a splice, and it was in the air, it was catchable height, but the fielder's not picked it up. And Arshdeep doing the double teapot in the middle of the wicket, looking at his point fielder, saying, what happened there?
Yeah, Ishan Kishan, the man there. Here's Arshdeep, last ball of his second over into Malan, goes in bowls, and Malan waits for a slower bouncer, which he pushes out comfortably, cross-batted down towards the deep mid-wicket area for a single. He'll retain the strike. 4 overs gone. It's 23 now for 1.
Yeah, mild anticlimax for Arshdeep there. None off the first, 11 off the next.
Yeah.
But I've been impressed with how he's bowled, and I think it shows actually the importance and how good the IPL has been for unearthing new talent in India, but also exposing them to pressure situations, because no doubt the talent has been there before, but the IPL has allowed it to be nurtured and exposed to these kinds of scenarios. But the way he's changed his pace, he's changed the way he swings the ball. Like, I remember being a young man in international cricket, and you can be slightly overawed by the situation, and you can just try and do the same thing again and again and again. But he showed a proactiveness there in his 2 overs that I really liked.
Well, high praise there for young Arshdeep from someone who's plied that art for so long in his career. And we have a change at the far end, as you'd expect after 2 overs. Bhuvneshwar Kumar's being replaced by Hardik Pandya. Now this will be interesting. His bowling exploits have been sort of on and off. He's of course had a serious amount of injury problems with his back, but to be a full value to Indian cricket, he's got to be fit to bowl as well, and he looks good as he comes in and bowls to Malan, who's easing it away gracefully, caressing it really. Didn't hit it. 4 runs to point. Beautiful shot that from Malan. 2 shot, a lot of width, comfortable 4 runs.
Climbs into that, and another welcome boundary. Malan now 21 from 13 deliveries, and like we spoke about in the Indian innings, a boundary early in the over, especially in the power play, just puts that bowler under significant pressure. So this is an opportunity for Malan. Rohit Sharma sticking with the slip fielder. It's still there. It wouldn't be surprised to see that come out this over. But David Malan will sense an opportunity here.
Here's Hardik Pandya running into us from the pavilion end bowls, and he's bowled him off the inside edge. Hardik Pandya strikes. Malan's gone. Bowled by Hardik Pandya. England 27 for 2.
Lovely comeback from Hardik, tighter in line. David Malan looking to run the ball down to third man, as he so often does, waits for the delivery to come to him, but Hardik Pandya, the seam pointing perfectly towards the wicket-keeper this time, and just coming back into Malan and catching the inside edge of his bat and just cannoning back in to the leg stump. So a perfect response from Hardik Pandya after being cut for 4 from his first delivery, and the wicket that India would have wanted when Malan was just looking to break free and start scoring a lot more freely.
Yep, another day, another time. That ball would have streaked between him and the leg stump down to fine leg. It wasn't to be tonight. Malan's gone, and England 27 for 2. The target 199, remember, and we're in the 5th over. Hardik Pandya strikes early. So important for the balance of India's white ball cricket, and arguably even their red ball cricket, to have a fully fit Hardik Pandya to perform the role of a true blue-blooded all-rounder. And slowly he seems to be working his way to full fitness. The IPL was an important part of it. I think as captain he was able to also manage his own workload, and it's a very important wicket for India.
Absolutely, and he's the sort of guy that you want in your team. When I've watched him play, I've never played against him, but you watch him play and he looks like a super competitive man, and you need those sorts of people in your team, in amongst the young players, in amongst the more experienced, calmer guys. You need those fire starters, and Ben Stokes is that for England, and Hardik Pandya fits that mould for India as well.
Livingston is the new man in, a strike rate of over 150 in T20 internationals. Waits for Pandya. Bowls, good bounce and carry there from Hardik Pandya. Can be deceptive, and this one just got big on him as he looked to run it down to third man there. Has the wicket changed, Finney, or something happened here?
I don't think the wicket's changed. I think India have managed to keep this ball in perfect condition. We see the replay of David Milan being bowled there, and you can see the writing on both sides of the ball still. It still looks brand new, and I think that hardness, plus the sun setting and the lights coming into effect, maybe slightly do just juice up the wickets here sometimes, and means that ball does kiss through to the wicket keeper nicely, and that certainly did there from Hardik Pandya.
Yeah, just clearly a little bit more fizz there. Here's Pandya in again, and down the wicket comes Livingston, looking to dispatch this ball into the big stand away to our left. Makes no contact, and the umpire will signal a leg by. Thuds into his right thigh, and this is lovely to see. A little fist bump from Hardik Pandya and Livingston as they just crossed at the far end. That's what the IPL and tournaments of that nature will do. It'll allow players to get to know each other a lot better, and hopefully just brings a little more bonhomie into this great game we love. Jason Roy, who's not had strike for a while, is now facing Hardik Pandya. Slip still in place. Pandya comes in, bowls to Roy, who's played this in the air, and it falls just in between. Again, a bit surprised there by the man coming in at mid-on. Might have been Bhuvaneshwar, not the most athletic. Sort of hung there, didn't it? Difficult to gauge depth from where we are.
He's getting some real big kick here, Hardik Pandya, from the wicket. It was similar back of a length, and Jason Roy, who usually stands there and smashes that length so well, looks to ride it because of the bounce and the pace that Pandya's getting, looks to ride it into the onside, but half a leading edge just seemed to perfectly bisect the fielders at square leg and mid-on, and Jason Roy lives to fight another day, but he's scratching around here trying to get his innings going. 3 from 12. He'll be looking for some respite soon.
Yeah, but he's the kind of batter, isn't he, who can quickly remedy that once he gets his eye in. There's Pandya bowls, and he comes inside the line, and he's gone. Yes, looking to play the paddle scoop, move to the offside, looking to help it over the keeper's head. All he can do is play it into the gloves of Dinesh Karthik. England lose their third. Roy gone, 29 for 3.
Yeah, wickets were always going to be the order of the day for India here at the beginning of this power play, and they're certainly delivering. Hardik Pandya sees Liam Livingston crab across to the offside to try and create room to be able to scoop the ball over the wicket keeper, but can only manage to get a small, slight glove on it. Fine feather through to the wicket keeper Dinesh Karthik. Hardik Pandya gets his second wicket of the over, and India are absolutely flying.
Yes, India very much in control here, and this Livingston who's walking back. 29 for 3. More from you, Steve, and for commentary it's going to be Henry Moran.
Liam Livingston looking to take the attack to the Indian bowlers, as he so often does. They're trying to help the ball on its way. It looks difficult to play across the line of deliveries at the moment, very hard to time when hitting square of the wicket, so looking to use the pace that Hardik Pandya had, but only managing to glove it. So England in a bit of trouble here. 29 for 3 from 5 overs, chasing 199, and that brings Harry Brook to the crease. And what better time to announce yourself properly in international cricket than here?
Well, yes, they always say if you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you very rarely win. That's the old sort of statistical adage in T20 cricket. England have done that, and they're chasing a big total as well. 199 is their target, and 3 of the big guns have gone. Milan, Butler, Livingston. Butler and Livingston both for ducks. Suryakumar, who got the wicket of Joss Butler in the first over, is running into bowl to Jason Roy, who gives himself some room. Helps that into the leg side with one hand off the bat. Will pick up a single. There's just a sliver of sunlight across that side of the field, but coming in between a little gap in the stands.
I can't wait for that to set, to be quite honest.
I know.
It's been a real pain all day.
It's this commentary box where Tuffers sometimes tucks a scorecard underneath the headphones to create a sort of elaborate ad.
He just doesn't think of bringing a hat.
I think he likes the attention.
Okay, fine. Yeah, makes sense.
Harry Brook then, playing for the second time for England, and having made his debut in Barbados, he is on strike with England in a spot of bother. 30 for 3. Brook right-hander. There's a slip in place, and Bhuvaneshwar is beginning an approach of a dozen or so paces. Oh, very nearly plays on. It's a good ball that angles in as he tried to push it off the back foot, plays it into the body, drops down, could easily have gone onto the stumps. England remain at 30 for 3.
Making this ball talk still. India, you talk about the ball not swinging for very long in T20 cricket, these white balls, but there's something about this. The ball arcing both ways quite significantly. Partly the skill of the bowlers, definitely, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, one of the finest exponents of swing bowling in the world. But yeah, 6 overs into a T20, you would not anticipate it would be swinging still.
Kumar bowling. This is helped around the corner, and I wonder if there's a bit of bat on that, because Karthik diving to his left puts it down and looks a little frustrated. Or wait and see what the umpire signals. That has been signalled as runs, and if so, that is a chance missed.
It was a slightly strange one, that, wasn't it? I think everyone was just anticipating that it was going to be signalled wide, but Dinesh Karthik didn't quite catch it cleanly and palms it off. Harry Brook gets off strike and off the mark, thanks to maybe a mildly generous umpiring decision.
Here we go, average swing in the power play, Finney. England 1.3 degrees, India 2.2.
Significant.
It is, yeah. Here comes Bhuvneshwar Kumar into bowl to Jason Roy, who swings hard at that, misses and leans on his bat, looking at the ground and swishing at thin air now.
I mean, those numbers also mean absolutely nothing to me. Is that significant swing that we would imagine that we would see in a test match?
I'm not sure, actually, but I mean, it did show, I guess, that India's getting more than England, but the actual degrees. I don't know as a batsman if you think, oh, that's swinging 1.3 degrees.
No, none of us are intelligent enough to compute that sort of stuff. So that's why we play cricket and we're not statisticians.
Roy on strike. Kumar in. This time he gets bat on it and plays it a little more cautiously and gently to the left of the fielder at mid-off. It's a good stop from Hardik Pandya to prevent more than just a single.
Jason Roy ran to the other end, and as he crossed past the stumps, he played a Happy Gilmore tee shot with his bat,
the running
frustration. Yeah.
Anyone that's been to a driving range has had a go at the Happy Gilmore.
I've snapped a couple of drivers trying to do it. Yeah. Put them back in the bag, delivered it back to the counter at the front. Played innocent.
I went to a place once that said no Happy Gilmores. Thought it was a bit mean. Here comes Bhuvneshwar, and that has found an inside edge, but it's half an appeal, and Brook was cut in half by it. Looks up towards umpire Milnes, and the end of an excellent over from Bhuvneshwar Kumar with England at the end of the power play, 32 for 3, chasing 199 and struggling. We're going to say goodbye to Steve and Finn. Steve Dasgupta, former India international, is ready to join us. I should say, over on BBC One and 5 Live now, Northern Ireland are playing their opening match in the Women's Euros, taking on Norway. England beat Austria in the tournament opener last night. I saw a lot of the England women cricketers were there to watch that game at Old Trafford, amongst 68,000 that were in attendance. And our Wimbledon coverage continues tomorrow. Cameron Norrie against Novak Djokovic. No Rafa Nadal, though, who has sadly had to pull out through injury. So through to the final goes Kyrgios.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be his first Grand Slam final, isn't it?
I think so. Right then, what have you made of this opening 6 overs? Been superb with the ball.
Superb. Obviously, yes. I mean, with Arshdeep in the side and obviously Harshal Patel, that gives the option for Rohit to bowl Bhuvi 3 overs in the first 6, because you got Harshal, who's a death over specialist, and Arshdeep, who's very good in the death as well.
Hardik Pandya then from the far end of the ground into bowl to Roy, who chases a short ball, doesn't get anything on it, signalled wide, and so England move to 33 for 3. India, it's worth pointing out at this stage, was 66 for 2, so double where England are.
Yeah, apart from the swing, the bounce as well. I think the Indian bowlers are getting more bounce too, and obviously the sun setting and the temperatures kind of going down. The pitch obviously is it's going to skid through a lot more than what we've seen in the first inning, so hence maybe the bounce and the swing as well to a great extent.
Hardik Pandya again then. He's picked up 2 wickets so far and is running into bowl to Roy. That could be a third. It's been skewed in the air. Fielder running in from deep third. Takes an easy catch. England 4 down. Jason Roy, it's been a tortuous knock. He's gone 4 from 16 balls. He trudges off towards the pavilion. And England are in all sorts of bother here. 33 for 4.
Yeah, he never got going. Jason Roy looked uncomfortable right through this innings. Too many plays and misses. Generally, you don't see that often from Jason Roy, but got to give credit to the Indian bowlers, and in this case, Hardik Pandya. Back of length, again the extra bounce, stoppage to Harshal, who makes no mistake, and obviously India is in a very good position, and that's exactly what India needed. I mean, if you need to stop England and the juggernaut that England is, especially in this format, you've got to pick wickets, and yeah, England are 33 for 4. Jason Roy gone 4 of 16.
It's not a great innings, that, from Jason Roy. And so to the middle comes Test match special zone, Moeen Ali, 50th T20 international, who was part of our TV and radio teams during the recent Test series. I should say we've got highlights tonight, 11:15 on BBC Two of this game, and well, we can all hope that Moeen can provide some highlights, because it's not been a terrific innings really so far from England, who it's starting to feel may have done a deal with the devil regarding their Test side and their white ball cricket. Right then, Brook then, the right hander, the two having crossed, waiting with a slip in place as Hardik bowls. He feels for that outside the off stump, and every delivery feels like it's going to take a wicket at the moment. 33 for 4.
And it's not the easiest time to bat as well. We're talking about the pitch and the sun setting. Right now, you've got half the pitch covered by shadow, and the other half's got nice and bright sunshine. So actually, I mean, for a batter, and the ball's released in the shade and halfway through, it's not easy to sight it, to be honest. Yeah.
Hardik at the end of his mark is preparing to bowl once again, right arm over in the shadow of the pavilion at the far end. Running in now, sprinting towards us as Brook waits, runs that ball away, very fine, and that's a good shot. Beats the slip fielder. A deliberate run off the face of the bat down to the boundary for 4.
Quite generous of you. I thought that was an outside edge.
Behave.
Yeah, a hint of movement, but yeah, you're right. Sorry. He did open the face of the bat. Yeah, good shot. There is a slip in place, so obviously you have to be really careful. Does well.
Brook on to 5. Midway through the 7th over, there's Hardik Pandya. He's got 3 for 10 so far from his first 9 balls. Turns again at the far end of the ground. Brook waiting, swinging hard. There'll be 4 more. That's an impressive shot.
Wow.
And 1 bounce into the fence. Good shot from Brook. They'll just check it possibly for 6.
Wow, what a hit that is.
But he smacked it towards long on. That is a good shot.
Yeah, it's like stand and deliver. It doesn't really move that much with his foot. Just shot. By inches short of the boundary cushions there. You reckon?
It's sort of on the half volley, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll check it for ages and then say it's 4, would be my prediction. I think it's hit the ground first, probably.
Yeah, but what a shot.
It's a brilliant cross-batted. Oh, they've given it a 6.
Whoa, is it?
Well, there you go. I'm a little surprised at that, but England will take it. Brook waits. 43 for 4, defends that into the ground and almost onto the stumps. And the score 43 for 4. The batter at this end of the ground is almost in a spotlight because of the gap between the temporary stands and our right. A shaft of light shining, it's lighting up in a gap of around about 6 feet or so. And it does make things a bit trickier, as you say, for the
it is
for the batter.
Trust me, it is extremely tricky.
England's power play score 32 for 3 is their second lowest when batting second in T20 cricket since 2014.
Got fielders in the deep mid wicket, fine leg, deep third, deep cover, and long on. Brook waiting, working the ball into space on the leg side. Will push hard for the first. Should be 2 if they're quick, and Moeen Ali responds to the call to get through for that second run. 45 for 4 is the score. I've got a little question for you about which 2 players, which India player who's part of the overall setup played in Joss Butler's T20 international debut for England.
How many are there?
So there's I'm talking about one specific figure who
okay.
isn't necessarily part of the playing staff. But he played in the debut that Butler made back in 2011 in a T20 game for India against England.
DK.
Nope.
Rohit was playing then.
Nope. I mean, he may have been playing. I'm thinking of someone specific that is surprising.
Okay.
Dravid?
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Rahul.
That was his debut as well, wasn't it? Rahul's 2011?
I think it was.
I think it was his debut as well.
So, not a player you necessarily associate with T20 cricket, but so Butler and Dravid
Making debuts.
making debuts on the same day. Right then, Harshal Patel is going to come along with his right arm medium pace bowling to Moeen Ali. Right arm over to the left-handed Moeen, who is waiting and driving gloriously. It is such a good looking shot when he plays that through the covers. A little aerial, but it was hit so cleanly. 49 for 4.
Magnificent shot. Just caressed it. Just got under the bounce. And that's the reason he's so good. He doesn't try and overhit at all. It's just plain and simple, brilliant timing. Well, again, test match cricket.
The world's flipped round, Deep. Moeen waiting. In comes Harshal. This is defended into the offside, and he's Zoltzman.
Jason Roy made it through the power play, was out for the first legitimate ball after it. 4 not out at the end of the power play. Comfortably the lowest score by an England opener at the end of the power play, who's not been dismissed. Previously it was Alex Hales' 9 at the end of a power play against South Africa in Cardiff back in 2017. We're seeing a lot of records set this summer, but I wasn't expecting to see that one.
Moeen's on 4 from 2 balls. Harshal Patel bustles in again past the umpire. He's slashed at a wide delivery. Moeen will pick up probably just a single. Shields his eyes from the sunlight. He looks to see the fielder running round Kishan in the deep.
Yeah, this is a big test for Harshal, because generally his stock ball is the slower delivery and works really well on subcontinental pitches where there's grip. But on surfaces like this, you get a fair idea whether how good is he with those slower deliveries on pitches like these where there's not much grip. It's going to skid through.
Required rate for England is just shy of 12 and over. They're 50 for 4. Harshal Patel into bowl to Brook, who is leaning on one into the leg side just in front of square. Will turn for a second run that should be there. Moeen it is, running to the danger end, and he'll get there via a rather sharp blow to the backside as the ball flies in on the bounce. They won't take the extra run that was available, and the score moves to 52 for 4. If you want to get in touch, tms@bbc.co.uk, hashtag BBC Cricket, or at BBC TMS on social media. Got our live text commentary. That's where you'll find the in-play highlights. I should think that Moeen Ali cover drive will be there.
Yeah, should be there. It has to be there.
52 for 4. Brook waits, crouching over his bat as in comes Harshal Patel. Gives himself some room, looking to run that ball down towards third again. Oh, a little bit of a mix-up from the misfield, and wisely Moeen says no.
Deepak Hooda, the fielder there. Yeah, he's got a good arm. But then so far it seems like Brooks is looking to create some room for himself. In the last over as well, he backed up again this ball, trying to look into that offside gap between third and D point.
Harshal Patel again running in with Brook giving himself some space and playing that ball in the air. Should be an easy catch. 2 underneath it, and has it been fumbled? I think it might have been. That is a horrible mix-up. Brook played the most extraordinary periscope of a shot, and his fine leg and keeper Kartik ran round. It was the keeper's catch, and somehow he's got himself in all sorts of a muddle and put it down. 8 overs gone, 53 for 4.
Yeah, another toughest of catches, to be honest. Again, the short pitch, he wanted to go over that point region, gets a top edge, and Kartik makes a meal of it. DK overruns it, then suddenly realizes he needs to kind of dive backwards towards his left. In fact, it was, I don't know, I mean, obviously it's a keeper's catch, but you also had Bhuvneshwar there right next to him. Called for it, was his catch. Yeah, should have been taken.
It should. That was proper Morton Marsh third 11 stuff. That was that wasn't great. 53 for 4 then after 8, chasing 199 in the T20 Blast quarter final. It looks like the Hampshire Hawks are going to be heading to finals day a week on Saturday. As the Birmingham Bears chasing 187, a 57 for 6 after 9 overs. Start of a new over. Here comes Chahal, the wrist spinner, as forward comes Brook to pick up a single.
Yeah, last time Yuzi Chahal was here was 2019 World Cup. Didn't have good memories of it. In fact, got dropped from the Indian side post that. Took him a while, a good year and a half to make a comeback.
I once saw him on Carnaby Street in Soho a few years ago. Yuzvendra Chahal.
Yeah, holiday, I guess.
Don't look at me like that, Sol.
What was he doing?
Yeah, seeing the sights. Having a little wander around. It was a Saturday evening. I was out having a glass of wine with Charles Dagnall at the time. 54 for 4 is the score. Moeen pushing that ball towards extra cover, and there'll be no run. I imagine for Yuzvendra Chahal quite a novelty to be in the centre of a major city and be able to walk around and see the sights.
To a great extent, yes.
Chahal scuttling in. Moeen going big into the leg side. He's got hold of that one. 6 runs.
Wow, that's a proper T20 shot. Was in his hitting zone. Yeah, what a shot. Gets under the ball, hits it over square leg with the turn. Yeah, Yuzi Chahal, 2 straight, 2 full. And that's what a lot of batters do nowadays against, leggies or wrist spinners. They just play the length. If it's too full, it's in the arc. You don't care which side it's turning with. It's a googly or a normal leg spin. It doesn't care.
Fielder moves round from fine leg to a square leg. We've got a deep mid-wicket, a long on, long off, and deep cover. As Chahal is in, Moeen goes hard again, and a good piece of fielding at short fine leg prevents the boundary. It's the captain, Rohit Sharma, who tumbles to his right.
Yeah, again too full. Gets away with that one. Rohit does well to stop it. Again, with square boundaries as long as these are, he can actually bowl a little shorter. You don't mind the batters cutting, especially on the offside.
Brook, the right-hander, waiting for Chahal, and try to go hard and big into the leg side, misses. It goes through to the keeper.
Yeah, doesn't want to get behind the ball, does he? Always beside the ball, Brooks. Again, this was a googly, but then again, he had moved so much outside leg stump.
Chahal in, down the track this time, smacking it past the bowler. That's gone at a rate of knots up towards the boundary, but good piece of fielding from wide, long off, running around from Deepak Hooda. Prevents the 4. Brook will keep the strike. It is 62 for 4 after 9 overs. The target 199. Now, an email in from Christopher Bowyer, TMS at bbc.co.uk. Further to your mention of Dravid's T20 international debut in 2011, I remember that after Rahul Dravid was selected to play, he then announced his retirement from T20 internationals before he played his first match. I've actually decided to do the same thing in terms of my T20 international career.
Before you get picked?
Before I get picked. I just don't want to put that pressure on the selectors.
But I believe Rahul Dravid announced it after he was picked, so you want to do that before you
I just don't want to,
Yeah, you don't want to put
it's a big tournament at the back end of the year. Let's not confuse matters.
Yeah, fair enough.
Souls. Hold on, here comes Akshar Patel round the wicket. Very flat, round arm delivery. That's nicely played though. Brook will pick up 4 through the covers.
Yeah, terrible delivery from Akshar Patel. Too short. Way too short, but good on Brooks. He picked up the gap really well between deep point and the cover fielder, because he had enough time. Good piece of timing as well.
Patel in, England 66 for 4. Spotted something though, Brook, down at this end of the ground, above the sight screen. Barely any of the ground now, not in shadow as Patel bowls, rather cramping Brook for room. Good sound off the bat though as it's pushed out to deep cover for 1. 67 for 4.
Rahul Dravid retired from T20 internationals with an impressive strike rate of 147 per 100 balls, having made 31 off 21 with 3 sixes in his only appearance in the format.
I think what might have been
Over 24,000 runs in tests and ODIs, just 31 in T20 internationals.
I mean, that's not so much the wall, is it? That's a good effort.
That is 3 sixes. I'll take that.
Over the wicket comes Akshar Patel to the left-handed Moeen Ali, who swings hard at that but misses. It goes through to Dinesh Karthik.
Oh, that was quick. I want to see the speed of that delivery. 94 k's an hour. Not bad.
Spins the ball from one hand to the other. Akshar Patel running in. Moeen chasing a ball down the leg side. Go through for the extra run as well as the wide. It'll inevitably be signalled. And a couple of useful runs onto the total for England, who are 68 for 4, chasing 199. 2 balls left of the 10th over.
Yeah, Akshar hasn't been bowling that well in T20 cricket as of late. Yeah, it's just got to get his line and length right here. It's a good batting surface still.
Akshar Patel bowling to Brook, who's deep in the crease, picking up 1 out to deep mid-wicket. And the score advances forward, 70 for 4. We've got a ball left of the over.
Yeah, what a character, Akshar.
In what way?
So funny. He's got these one-liners. It's unbelievable.
So 2 balls left of the over after that wide. Moeen waiting, and he thought about going large into the leg side, but just restricted his intentions. And it's 71 for 4. Should say, next game in this series is on Saturday, back at Edgbaston. Live on BBC Two as well from 2 p.m. You can catch Isha Guha, Phil Tufnell, Ebony Rainford-Brent, Jimmy Anderson. Deep, you're part of the team as well, I believe.
Yes, I am.
We'll also have commentary here on TMS. We'll have Saqib Mahmood with us for that one. Here comes Akshar Patel. Brook plays the ball a little aerially, but into space up towards wide long off for 1. And he will finish the over on 25. Moeen Ali's on 13. England 72 for 4 after 10. Deepak Gupta, some more thoughts from you, and then Prakash Wakanka.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, talking about Akshar, I still remember coaching the India 23s, and he was there. Unbelievable. You say something to him, he's got an answer for everything. He would have to finish the sentence. I mean, he'll be the last one to have a word. And I just bumped into him in the lift right now, and I was like, Akshar, is everything all right? Yeah, I lost a few kilos. I was like, how? So I just coming from Ireland.
No food.
Yeah, survived on chips. He's a vegetarian. We were having a chat off here as well, Prakash, and he's like, it's struggle for vegetarian, and he's like a proper vegetarian from Gujarat. He's also from that Jamnagar area, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Rajkot, Jamnagar area.
And that I mean, you've got to really appreciate Akshar's humour. You've got to understand Gujarati.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a precondition.
Oh, Lord.
Drinks are on the field. England at the end of 10 overs are 72 for 4. The target is 199. So they need a fair few runs and will need to go briskly as we move towards the second half of the innings. Andy Zaltzman has his hand poised on his microphone.
Just a little on David Malan, who'd become the #1 ranked batsman in international T20 cricket after a fine run at the start of his career. But since the end of the Sri Lanka series last summer, his returns have been rather thinner. At that point, he'd scored over 1,000 runs, averaged 47 with a strike rate, excellent 143. But since then, in 9 further innings, just 170 runs, averaged 21 per dismissal, and a strike rate of just 110. So that excellent early form has slightly dissolved in the last year.
Yeah, he'll want to remedy that. He's a far better player than that, and he'll want to carry on and make sure that he continues to be an integral part of England's T20 setup. All the major nations now, Deep, I suppose, will use the next several months in the run-up to Australia in terms of how they want to prepare, what their personnel are, what their options are. So it's going to be an interesting period. We're likely to see some new talent, and the first time I'm seeing Harry Brook. I've heard a lot of great things about him, and he's looked like he's not just belonged, but he's actually pacing the innings rather well.
He is. Obviously, he's like a very modern-day batter who stays beside the line, really doesn't get behind it. which actually suits the kind of batter that he is, or the shots that he plays.
Here's Chahal, first over after drinks, and beaten on the turn, but the ricochet of the pad will allow a run to be taken. A leg by will be signalled, as it is now 73 for 4. Flatter and quicker through the air from Chahal.
Yeah, he needs to be a little shorter. He was a tad bit fuller last over, I thought, and especially it'll be a test now that Moin's on strike.
Yeah, 2 men in the deep, 3 men in the deep on the onside, long on, deep mid wicket, and a man deep back with a square. Chahal into the left-handed Moin. It's gone straight back over the keeper's head. Top edge will run down to the boundary, or will it be dragged in? He gives it up, does Harshal. And 4 runs to Moeen Ali and to England, 77 for 4.
Yeah, a little streaky there. Again, length too full, but the line was a lot better. Was a googly outside off stump. Moeen wanted to drag it on the onside, but lucky there. Gets a top edge, a thick top edge, which goes all the way. The line's right, maybe the length just a tad bit fuller.
There's Chahal close to the stumps, and this time a swing and a miss from Moeen Ali outside the off stump, looking to work it into that gap. Once he beats those 2 men in the ring behind the wicket on the offside, there's 4 runs for the asking. So Chahal trying to keep it away from the arc, the natural left-hander's arc. He's in again, bowls. And Moeen this time leans back and cuts, looking to pierce that gap. Good work at the edge of the circle by Bhuvaneshwar. Limits the scoring to a single. 78 for 4 as the floodlights begin to take full effect here. And the sun, which does cause some problems here at this ground because it's a low depressed bowl, as the name suggests. Now that problem is no longer there. Here's Chahal bowls. Reverse sweep attempted and beats the man. No, good stop in the end by Harshal Patel, diving away to his right. Didn't get all of it there, Brook, but had the right idea with the turn. Wanted to play it behind point. Didn't get enough.
Much better over. Much better over, even though he's conceded a boundary.
Unless this goes somewhere. Here's Chahal bowls to Moeen Ali, and he's dropped. Suryakumar Yadav at extra cover. Put down a catch that he would normally take, I think about 9.5 times out of 10. It travelled, it was hit firmly, but I think the forward momentum from Suryakumar. So India have been poor in the field. 2 catches have gone down. Both the batters at the crease have had a chance each.
Yeah, this obviously flew off the middle of the bat. Was very quick, as you rightly mentioned, but it's Suryakumar Yadav. He's so safe. He's not safe, he's actually very good, but just goes through his hands. I don't think he really picked it up. I think a couple of fielders have had the issues. I mean, by the look of it, it seems that it's just that much more difficult to pick from the background, maybe, or something. But
yeah, Stephen was saying, wasn't it, that, but that was more when the sun was there, that sometimes the crowd can impact that. Here's Akshar starting a fresh over, and Moeen Ali looks to go big, bottom edge, streakily squirts out towards 45 for a single. 81 for 4 in the 12th now. Off the pad. Thank you, Andy. Here's Akshar, makes some room, does Brook, and pushes it out firmly on the offside for a single.
Well bowled. It's really good bowling from Akshar. Keeping it really straight, a little back of length, trying to hit that off stump, top of off stump or middle stump. And he really doesn't turn the ball as much, but he's got that angle. He goes wide of the crease and angles it into right-handers.
To Moeen Ali, who's got some width on the offside. Again, didn't quite get all of it, so he'll just get a single as Ishan Kishan comes off the deep cover boundary to field. 1 more to the total. England keeping the scoreboard moving, but the big hits aren't coming, and they'll have to go for it fairly quickly. We're in the 12th over. England are 83 for 4. Moeen is 20, and Brook on strike now is on 27. Here's Akshar into Harry Brook, who makes some room and hits it down towards long on. 1 bounce to Deepak Hooda. Another time, another fielder might have actually tried to do something more with it. 84 for 4 in the 12th.
The previous single by Moeen brought up the 50 partnership in 5.2 overs.
Down comes Moeen, and this time he's got a genuine bottom edge. It's running down towards the fine leg boundary. The fielder won't get there. 4 runs. and that takes the England total up to 88 for 4. England just at the right time now, looking to accelerate. 50 runs between them. India, of course, have given both the batters here a reprieve. Dinesh Karthik putting down what should have been a fairly straightforward one earlier on, and then in the previous over from Chahal, Suryakumar Yadav unable to hold on. 3 men in the deep on the onside in front of the wicket. Here's Aksar. Down the wicket comes Moeen Ali and launches this. This is gone long way back. I think I make it about 5 rows back, and a terrific blow from Moeen Ali to end the over. 12 gone, 94 for 4, and this over's gone for 14, including the leg bye.
Oh, humongous that one. A little slower in the air, and Moeen Ali not just reaches the pitch of it, but bang, huge this is. Crisply timed.
Beautiful shot. Got all of it, and the crowd there wondering which chair it would be. I think I make it on the replay about 10 rows back. Chahal.
Required rate's now 13.1 per over.
Here's Chahal in to bowl, and Brooks is smacking this one. Is this going to be taken? Yes, it looks like it has been. A brilliant catch. Suryakumar Yadav making amends for that one that he put down off Moeen Ali. Takes a nice running catch on the boundary at deep mid-wicket. England lose their fifth, 94 for 5, and walking back is Harry Brook.
But what a catch, Surya. This is what we keep seeing all the time. Suryakumar was fabulous, making good ground, good 10-12 yards, and then obviously kind of had to slide to get to the ball. But good bowling again from Yuzi Chahal. Back of length, not much room, and Harry Brooks had to go for it. 28 of 23. A good indication of what kind of a player he is.
Have you seen him before this innings?
No, I haven't.
Impressed?
Yeah.
Confident. Looked to time the ball very well. Seemed to have that little extra time as well in which to decide what sort of stroke he wanted to play. 94 for 5. 12.1 overs gone. The target, remember, is 199, so required run rate a little over 13 at the moment. Not impossible in this form of cricket at all. Sam Curran is the man who's replaced Harry Brook, and that will bring Moeen Ali on strike as the batsman crossed. 12.1 overs gone. Chahal with his first wicket now. In to bowl to Moeen Ali. Chahal in. Tosses it up outside the off stump. Moeen Ali goes inside out. Beautiful shot. It will be fielded. Yes, it is. By Aksar, I think it is. Arshdeep on the boundary. And the return comes in, but not before Moeen Ali can comfortably take 2.
Yeah, that's a good shot. That's more like it. Obviously, it's away from his arc, but then he goes over extra cover, uses the angle, another googly. So change in the field, got deep extra cover because Moeen is so good going over extra cover. So he's got and deep extra cover now. 3 fielders inside the circle behind wicket.
And all he does is pierce that, as you described. Beautifully placed, threading the needle as it were, and 4 runs down square, backward a point. The 100 comes up for England, and Moeen Ali is on fire as we see more of the... I don't know how to describe this.
But he looks so different when he's looking to time the ball. Every time he looks to hit big and hit with power, more often than not he loses his shape. But every time he just wants to time it. He looks so classy.
He's just an elegant batsman. And here's Chahal to Moeen, once again looking to place the ball. This time finds Arshdeep in the way at the squarest of the 3 men, starting in an arc from where you'd say probably a short square third, and then a short backward, and then an orthodox point, all at the edge of the circle, of course. Chahal into Moeen Ali. Down the wicket he comes, and Dinesh Karthik does the rest. So Moeen Ali done in the air, and Chahal strikes with the googly. He's got his man, and that is a very important breakthrough. Just as Moeen Ali was looking to really power this England innings through, he is now been stumped, and 5 down for 100.
Yeah, of the second attempt it seems. But Yuzi Chahal, this is a flipper. Oh, misses a full toss, wanted to play on the onside, closed the face of the bat way too early. An initial fumble from DK, but made sure the ball fell in front of him. And then the second attempt takes the bails off. Moeen Ali was starting to look dangerous. Yeah, well made 36 of 20, Moeen Ali. England 100 for 6.
Yeah, in more than just a spot of bother, and this will now be a really good test of England's depth in batting. They've got the talent there. What they'll need to see is, can they keep up with this rate which is mounting? And Dinesh Karthik not having the best days behind the stumps. He put down one, and then, as Deep just described, a bit of a fumble there, but he did make amends. And I think in that context, Moeen Ali was so far down that had he attempted to come back, it might have been a different story. But in this event, he was stumped by Karthik, and Chahal has his second wicket.
Got a slip now, Rohit himself.
Yeah, putting the pressure on. Worked away on the onside by Jordan, and England moved to 101 for 6. You feel that India have got this game a little bit tighter now, but in T20 cricket, as the required run rate touches exactly 14 runs, it's not something that's not been done before.
True, but you know what's been really good ever since Rohit's taken over the captaincy is he's always been attacking. And we've seen that even when he was captaining, or when he captains Mumbai Indians, he's always looking to pick wickets. And to be very honest, in this day and age in T20 cricket, I mean, if you're not picking wickets, you're gone.
Yeah. And I think Rohit Sharma's credentials as the captain really have been built on his work in T20 cricket, isn't it? His Mumbai Indians tenure, and that really has catapulted him to that place. So very proactive.
Yeah.
Hardik Pandya being brought into the attack, and a slip back in place. You don't see that often in the 14th over of an innings, but looking to press home the advantage here, and if he can, try and close out the game. Let's take a look at the field then. There's a long on, a deep mid-wicket, a man deep backward square, and a third. Here's Pandya. And this one's nicked, and Karthik's put it down. He's having an absolute horror day with the gloves. Wasn't the easiest, but yet you would expect him to take it more often than not. Went with one hand, and he spilt it. Rohit Sharma might have had a chance moving to his left at that wideish slip, as Deep Dasgupta has been replaced by Steve Finn.
Yes, and all action still, isn't it? Dinesh Karthik jumping across first slip. Because there's only one slip in place, that first slip is a little bit wider, takes an initial step towards the leg side, and then leaves himself a lot of work to do to try and bridge that gap between himself and Rohit Sharma. Dinesh Karthik's laughing about it. I'm not sure if I was Hardik Pandya, I would be too.
Here's Pandya into now bowl, and pushed away, thinking about an impossible run there. Sam Curran quickly decides to go back into the security of his crease.
That's potentially 3 drops. There was the one from Brook down the leg side that was given as a run. I didn't see a replay whether he actually hit it or not, but if that was off the bat, that would be 3 drops for Karthik, plus a fumbled stumping that he recovered. So.
And how many Indian wicket keepers have done that in the first 13 overs of a T20 game? 102 for 6, 13.2 overs have been bowled, as the lights now in full effect here at the Aegis Bowl. Away goes Pandya to Curran bowls, and he's hooked this, hit it in the gap. Has he? No, he hasn't in fact timed it as well, and there'll be just 2 runs as Arshdeep moves to his right and completes the fielding. 2 more to the total, 104 now for 6.
Yeah, Pandya sticking to that heavy length in the middle of the wicket, getting that kick and bounce that we've seen since Chris Jordan bowled. Really, he bowled very similar length to this through the middle of the Indian innings, and the Indians found it very hard. They've learned from what Chris Jordan did, and Pandya here's got his tail up. 3 wickets off 2.3 overs. He'll be hunting more.
Here he is now in to bowl to Curran. The slip still in place, bowled, and this time Curran is pushing it out off the back foot, powerfully down towards wideish long on. Again, didn't quite time it, and that ensured that there would be just 2 runs. He had the right idea, found the gap as well from a placement perspective, but didn't have enough power. 106 for 6 now.
Yeah, he always looks to target that area, opens up his front side and hits it so clean there. But Hardik Pandya just challenging him with the bounce in this wicket to try and play that shot across the line. It's very hard to time it very well, but Rohit Sharma now brings himself out from slip to plug that gap at mid-wicket to see if Sam Curran keeps trying to go there.
Pandya in, and this time he's got inside the line, and will Karthik take it? Yes, he does. So he does take the catch again. I think looking to play the sort of half paddle, half scoop over the keeper's head. Maybe the ball just got too big on him, hit the top of the bat, no real power behind it, and Hardik and Karthik now actually raises his hands as if to say, yeah, I caught one. And he's gone, is Sam Curran. 106 for 7 at the fall of Sam Curran's wicket.
He might have been thinking about retirement if he'd have dropped that one. That's as easy as they come here up into the night sky, or not quite night sky, but the sun's set. It's a beautiful pale pink sky above us, and it's gone high into that, and Dinesh Karthik settles under it and takes it easy. Sam Curran looking to use the pace, but that bounce of Hardik Pandya has been too much for the English batsman today, and he's doing a great job for his team here. Now England on the brink, 106 for 7 after 13.5 overs, and I can't imagine in the nature that England play their one-day cricket that they'll be knocking these around for the next 6 overs. It's going to happen in a hurry, I'd think, one way or the other.
Yes, and Hardik Pandya, of course, having a dream game really with the ball. That's his 4th wicket. And the camera pans and close up on Dinesh Karthik on our monitor here. You sense a bit of relief on that face.
Yes, absolutely. And Tamal Mills, my Sussex teammate, comes to the crease.
Yes, Pandya into Mills bowls, and he's pushed away on the offside, fielded at backward point. There will be no run. 106 for 7. It stays. 14 overs have now been bowled, and the rate is mounting, and mounting very, very quickly.
Yes, to an unmanageable level, you would imagine now. Chris Jordan can hit a cricket ball. He's a very, very competent batsman. Tamal Mills can hit a cricket ball. You'd say 90 off of 6 overs, maybe mildly out of his reach. Although he does bat above me for the Sussex team, so you know, he must have some degree of competency.
That is some accolade.
Exactly. There's not. Yeah, I've been batting at 11 this year. Sticks, jack, whatever you want to call it.
Can you talk us through the?
No,
remember who the game was where
no,
you were batting the last over? We were watching, cheering you on in a pub in Leeds.
I don't remember what you're talking about, Zorz, to be quite honest.
I think Finney is sort of urging Charles to get on with his bowling. Here he is now from the far end. And Jordan, as he dropped that, was that into the ground. Nevertheless, a single for Jordan and England. 107 for 7.
If you're talking about the incident where we needed 23 off 8 overs with 7 wickets in hand, no, 8 wickets in hand, and we lost by 5 runs, and I was the last wicket out, putting one straight up the chimney, trying to work it into the leg side in my defence, not trying to slog it for 6. Got a healthy top edge, and I was the final wicket of that game.
Slip in place, Charles into... and he's connected with that. It's a humongous, it's a monster hit. Way over mid-wicket for 6 there. Terrific shot that from Mills. You did say he bats ahead of you, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, and that's exactly the reason why. There's a huge grin across his face there. When you bat at the lower end in T20s, you don't often get the opportunity to come in and and face leg spin or face spin of any sort. Usually it's guys putting them up round your ears or trying to knock your toes off. Taking advantage of facing a leg spinner for a change.
Terrific shot that. And this time he looks for a reverse sweep and doesn't make any contact, does Mills. 14.3 overs gone, 114 for 7 England. England's innings really hasn't taken off at all. There was that brief period of the 50-run partnership which Moeen Ali and Brook put together. Not much after that. Flatter, quicker onto the pads, doesn't make contact. Mills stays 113 for 7. Hardik Pandya at slip, along with 2 men on the offside in the circle. Charles bowls, and this time he's connected. This ball's gone high up in the air. Fielder getting underneath it. Will he take it? He's dropped it. Deepak Hooda there. Again, looked like a fairly straightforward catch. I'm just wondering whether it's anything to do with the crowd, but this was coming from up on high. It wasn't sort of flat with the crowd background. 2 runs nevertheless, and another drop catch. So India's fielding coach looks like he's going to have some work to do.
Yeah, he's going to be hitting some high catches before the next game, isn't he? I think it's gone up into the sky, and because there's no clouds, it's very hard to have any depth perception.
Charles Bowles pushed away on the offside by Jordan. They'll take one comfortable. It's 115 for 7 now, and 15 overs have been bowled at that stage, with Jordan on 4, Mills on 7. Charles has 2 for 32 of his 4, and to take you through to the end of this game, after a quick word from Stephen Finn, it will be Henry Moran.
Yeah, there's one area that the Indians will look at this evening and say that they could have done better is their catching. They've given England a lot of lives, which if you do give this England batting lineup lives, usually they will punish you. Today they haven't, but it is the first game of this series. Both teams just sussing each other out. But certainly India have been by far the better team. Got on a very good performance with both bat and ball. Hardik Pandya's been the star of the show.
Yeah. Are you a little surprised at how England have gone with the bat today?
I think when you're chasing a target such as this, I think that you can come unstuck. It's very hard to consistently chase down 200 run totals in T20 cricket because of how hard you have to go consistently. I think that paired with the fact that the ball swung significantly for the Indians in those first 6 overs, and it was expertly exposed by those 2 opening bowlers.
Harshal Patel is going to bowl his second over, 8 from the first. There's a big swing, but nothing on it from Chris Jordan as he looked to launch that ball towards the scoreboard to our right. It looks much darker than it actually is through our commentary box windows, so it's sort of tinted to allow for the person on strike not to be able to see us.
Yes, well, we are directly behind the bowler's arm. I mean, I'm not wearing Larry clothes today, but in the past I've been known to wear some interesting attire that may have caught the batter's eye whilst the bowler was running in.
Here comes Harshal Patel into bowl to Chris Jordan. Right arm over, Jordan gets something on that, and it's going to fly over the keeper's head and down to the boundary for 4. England moving to 119 for 7.
It's a good job our TMS colleague Dan Norcross isn't here, actually, because he would have provided some significant distraction.
Or indeed Henry Blofeld.
Or all blowers, yeah, most definitely.
So I think the way these windows work, it's a bit like if you and I were like Starsky and Hutch. And
I thought you were going to say wearing nothing. That would have been strange.
Well, maybe we are. But it would be, they can't see us, but we can see them.
Yeah.
Here comes Harshal Patel to Jordan, who's waiting on a slower ball, which is played off the back foot out towards deep cover for 1. And the score moves to 120 for 7. Midway through the 16th over, Mills will be on strike on 7.
I actually think something that India have done very well in this second innings is learn from how England bowled and what England did well. I think sometimes in T20 games it's so important or so beneficial for your team to bat first so you can see what is working and what's hardest to hit, and all the Indian seamers have executed.
Harshal Patel running in. This is edged and into the ground before reaching the gloves of the keeper Dinesh Karthik. Harshal Patel, I think, could have done with slightly longer trousers. He looks as though he might have had them taken up a little bit, and he's gone to the shop and said, I'll have just 3 inches off.
They might be his lucky trousers, though. I've been known to do that before on tour. You bowl well in a pair of trousers, then they go through the wash, and invariably when you're staying in hotels, someone just sticks them in a dryer, really hot.
Patel running in. It's a good ball, just full outside that off stump, and a big swing from Mills. He misses, and the ball goes through to the keeper.
And they come back looking like child's pyjamas, but because you took wickets in them last game, you're like, well, I've got to try and squeeze into these.
You're wearing them.
It is solely the trousers' fault that I bowled well, and I have to stick with it. So
you're wearing an incredibly tight pair of trousers.
Tight, short trousers, yeah, but they're your lucky trousers, yeah.
How do you get your knees high?
Well, you just have to bowl badly in them and then throw them away.
Here comes Harshal Patel, and that is a nicely played shot. Is it? No! I thought for a moment Mills had played a lovely, delicate ramp over the keeper's head, but in fact he played it straight back in the air, and to the hands of the bowler, who takes the easiest catch. Tamal Mills shakes his head. The idea was right, the execution not so. 120 for 8.
Tamal Mills deceived by the slower ball here. No, it's not a slow ball actually, it's just stuck in the wicket, and that two-paced nature when the ball gets old and it just sticks in the surface a little bit, does for Tamal Mills, looking to lean away and ramp it over the keeper's head, a la Sachin Tendulkar when he used to do that beautiful ramp shot, but not quite as fluent as the great Sachin, and just gets a leading edge straight back to the bowler. Will never take a simpler catch, and if it's a night where all the outfielders are putting the catches down, there's no way you're dropping one off your own bowling.
No.
Be duly obliged.
Well, here comes Reece Topley, and he's been counting down until getting his opportunity to head to the middle. He's been probably expecting this for a few overs. England 120 for 8.
India will make it have 6 dropped catches in 16 overs, which is I guess quite impressive, and they've also taken 8 wickets. Hardik Pandya, a half century and 4 for 23 so far.
Into the 17th over, and a big swing from Chris Jordan. Very little timing on it, out towards mid-wicket, and a couple of runs will be taken. England 1-2-2 for 8.
It's the 12th player in men's T20 internationals to have the double of a half century and a 4-wicket haul. If you can guess all 12, I'll be impressed. Some of them you might take a punt at. Dwayne Bravo, Shane Watson, Mohammad Hafiz, all quite a long time ago. Samuel Shinwari for Afghanistan.
Karan Pollard?
No. You've got Davisi of the Czech Republic.
That was next on my list. Hardik Pandya bowling to Chris Jordan. Plays that firmly off the back foot, out towards deep cover for 1. England 1-2-3 for 8, chasing 199. We're in the 17th over.
Bakum of Ghana. Damiao Kuana of Mozambique. Buleli, also of Mozambique. Nahonde of Botswana. Ere of Nepal. And JJ Smith of Namibia.
Oh, JJ Smith, I'm aware of. Played in the T20 World Cup in the UAE last year.
4 of those were in the same tournament in Rwanda last November.
What does that tell us about the pitches? Well, nothing really, I suppose.
Good contest between bat and ball.
Yeah, I suppose it does. Here comes Hardik Pandya. He's got 4 foot. Is that going to be 5? No, it's going to fly over the keeper's head and down to the boundary for 4 runs. Reece Topley swinging hard and getting a top edge through to the keeper, through to the boundary. 1-2-7 for 8.
The 2 guys from Mozambique in the same game against Cameroon in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup Sub-Regional Africa Qualifier Group B match last November.
Favourable on DVD. Here comes Hardik Pandya. And Topley gives himself so much room, he's almost off the pitch. Plays the ball square on the offside for 1. And the score moves to 128 for 8.
Buleli and Kuana opened the batting, scoring 59 and 104 respectively, and then opened the bowling as well, taking 4 and 5 wickets. So
if only they'd broken that opening partnership, all things could have been so different.
Cameroon bowled out for a disappointing 38.
Here comes Hardik Pandya then, turning at the end of his mark. 2 balls left of his spell. Running into bowl to Jordan, who plays the ball wristily, flicking it down towards short fine leg, where Yuzvendra Chahal do-si-dos with the ball, eventually finding it somewhere by his feet. A single is taken, and the score 129 for 8. Clear skies over Southampton. And it's going to be quite some clear distance between these 2 sides come the end of this game, because England are going to feel well short here. Really impressive from India. Hardik Pandya then running in towards us. Final ball of an excellent spell, and that's chopped away by Topley out towards deep backward point for 1. And over comes to an end. Hardik Pandya finishes 4 overs, 4 for 33. And England 130 for 8. 3 overs left, still requiring a further 69 runs.
Yeah, outstanding spell from Hardik Pandya. It may be slightly ruining the fact that he's not took a 5th wicket in that final over, having bowled 3 balls at the number 10 Reece Topley, but nonetheless fantastic bowling, very simple game plan. Hit the track hard, get the seam pointing upright, and let the ball and the wicket do the rest, and make the England batters do funky things. 2 wickets caught by the wicket-keeper with people trying to scoop him because of the pace he was bowling with, but perfectly exploited the conditions here, and that's his best return in T20 international cricket, and well deserved.
Indeed, his 2nd 4 for the other one was against England as well, back in 2018 at Bristol. Right then, We're going to see Arshdeep Singh bowling once again, coming round the wicket. Straight approach to bowl to Reece Topley, who gives himself some space, clubs the ball down the ground towards the fielder waiting at long on, and England move to 131 for 8. Hampshire have beaten the Birmingham Bears by 104 runs in the T20 Blast quarter-final. The Bears 82 all out. Fuller taking 4 for 17. It's not a great night at the office.
No, it just proves that the South Group is way harder than the North Group, I think. It's the takeaway we can have from that.
Yeah, and even run chases that seem so simple can suddenly fall away quite dramatically.
They can.
Arshdeep Singh at the end of his mark. He's got quite a long approach, probably almost 20 paces I'd have thought. He's running in now, round the wicket, going down the leg side though, and that'll be signalled wide. 132 for 8 is the score. Tomorrow, here on 5 Sports Extra, commentary on Lancashire against Essex from 6:25. And don't forget, the next match in this series is on the telly, BBC 2 from 2 p.m. on Saturday, as well as here on TMS. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm hopeful that England will put up a bit of a better fight.
They will. 100% sure they will. It can happen in T20 cricket that you do just simply get completely outclassed on the night.
Arshdeep is in. This is walloped into the leg side. Perfect timing, and so there will be only a single taken. Fielder in the deep will run round to pick up. And as the throw comes in from Deepak Hooda, England move to 133 for 8.
The worrying thing for England is that all India's big T20 guns come back, and Jasprit Bumrah, I mean, how's he going to get in this team given the way the opening bowlers bowled this evening? It's going to be hard to see, but yeah, a tricky prospect for the England players, but one they'll relish, no doubt.
Arshdeep Singh running in round the wicket, and waiting on it is Topley, and swinging hard, but the bottom edge only goes through to Dinesh Karthik. He's got quite an interesting approach.
I don't like it.
It's quite confusing visually, isn't it?
Very, very. And also the physics of getting the ball back on line towards the stump. So the angle that he's starting with, he's bowling round the wicket here to the right-hander. He is bowling left arm. And his approach starts behind the umpire, and he almost creeps up behind the umpire as if he's going to take the umpire out, and then darts just behind him and creates such a huge angle for him to bowl it back towards the stumps. I don't think it works.
Comes in now, bowls, and this is chased again by Topley, and once more goes through to Dinesh Karthik. I mean, looking there, he's actually almost starting, as we look at it, on the right of the pitch, and then going right across the umpire.
It's almost a through and around sort of left arm bowler. I mean, I've played around with this a lot over the years, bowling round the wicket, because it's become much more fashionable to left-handed batters for a right-arm bowler. And I've always found that running directly towards the stumps gives you a better chance of getting more momentum towards there, rather than having to bowl around yourself like Arshdeep is.
Arshdeep bowls to Topley, who gives himself space again into the leg side, clips that ball out towards deep mid-wicket, where he'll pick up a couple of runs thanks to a bit of a fumble from Deepak Hooda, adding the move to 135 for 8. If Jordan Topley do the maths, they'll realise this is still doable, but it's gone, this game, because 135 for 8, how many balls left? 13 balls left, and a target of 199. This game, it really went away quite some time ago.
It did. I think it was the power play that killed England, really. You try not to focus too much, especially when you're in the team, on that period of play.
Here comes Arshdeep Singh round the wicket to bowl to Topley, who swung hard at that. And is there an edge? I fancy there is. And indeed, Topley has to go. He went to that very hard and almost swung himself off his feet, and it goes through to the keeper. And there is a wicket for Arshdeep Singh. He celebrates with his teammates, and a wicket on debut as well. Bowled really well and deserves that.
He's bowled lovely, an off-cutter into the pitch. Reece Topley having to wait for it and having a wild swing, ending up off the cut strip again, but can only manage a feather of an outside edge to Dinesh Karthik, who does the rest. A rather subdued celebration for your first international T20 wicket. Maybe not quite the way that he'd envisaged taking it, but for the way that he bowled earlier and the way that he stuck to his skills here, it's been a fantastic evening, and it's a well-deserved wicket. And now with Matt Parkinson coming to the crease, I'd imagine these two bowlers will be vying for who can take this final wicket to mop up another international wicket for them.
Indeed, Matt Parkinson's record in T20 cricket, well, I think there's a reason he's at number 11. Fine bowler, but having played in quite a reasonable sample size now of 77 T20 matches, he's got a best of 12 and an average of 4.5.
To be fair,
Jordan on strike though, full toss, driven down the ground. He's going to get runs for that. Good looking shot for 4. Fielder up inside the circle at mid-off, and Jordan punches that ball to the boundary. That's a nice looking shot from Chris Jordan. 139 for 9.
lovely shot. This big strong shot down the ground, searching for a Yorker here, missing. Just on the full side, and Chris Jordan presents the full face. Hits it straight back down the ground. But talking of T20 batting, some of the tail enders' averages look horribly ugly. Mine is up there as well. Our strike rates and everything are just completely butchered.
This is played in the air. It's going to fly down towards fine leg. That could be 6. It is. Chris Jordan giving the crowd here something to enjoy in the latter stages of the game. Those England supporters that have been left a little disappointed, seeing some fireworks in the bat of Chris Jordan. England 1-4-5 for 9.
Yeah, that 6 has brought the required rate down to 5.6 per ball.
Doable. Hey, it's not over till it's over. A gentleman in a white t-shirt very nearly took the catch. I'm really angry with himself. I remember Chris Jordan at the Oval a few years ago, smacking the ball about a lot in a one-dayer, so he can bat. He's on 24 from 13. As in comes Harshal. This is played away into the offside, stopped in the covers. A back foot punch from Chris Jordan. 1-4-5 for 9. Slowly but surely the crowd just thinning a little bit. This isn't one of the easiest grounds to get out of in the world.
No, or get into, as I found today. I'm aiming to be here for 4 o'clock. Ended up getting here about 40 minutes late. Stuck in traffic, then wandering around trying to find the right place, trying to get into the right car park.
And they have to find the right hotel room, get the key to get to the right room. Big swing, down the ground it goes. Fielder waiting. But long off will collect. Harshal bowling to Chris Jordan, slapping it back with a cross-batted heave, really. It's 146 for 9. Disappointingly, they've taken the bed away from our commentary box.
That would have been pleasant, wouldn't it? Do you just get your 20-minute stints to recharge the batteries?
You know, you can lie on your side and watch the game through the window.
I can imagine a day of Test cricket. That'd be very handy.
Oh, it's lovely.
Toughers would definitely want a bed in there, surely.
He did an entire commentary stint in a bathrobe, I remember.
During COVID?
No.
No. They just wandered in here in a bathrobe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Parkinson on strike for the first time, as in comes Harshal Patel, and Parkinson gets in a bit of a tangle, looking to work the ball into the leg side. And there's 1 ball left of the 19th over. 1-4-6 for 9. This being one of the 2 venues used during COVID, so we spent quite a lot of time here. And it was where Aggers first was learning the ukulele.
Which would be mildly annoying in the room next to you, you'd imagine.
Oh, not just the room next to you.
No? Oh, it was one of those David Brent style, bring it in and get everyone singing along.
Yeah, a little bit. Here comes Harshal Patel into bowl to Parkinson, who is defending into the offside. The over comes to an end. 1-4-6 for 9. I remember one night we were on the balcony, because it was weird. We were separated by floors from the 2 teams. We were on this floor and on the balcony, and Aggers was playing the ukulele, sort of George Formby style, playing a lot of Neil Diamond. And I got a text message from, I can't remember, one of the England guys that works with us. I think it might have been Jimmy, who works with us, and he said, could you please tell Agnew to shut up?
Cut the strings to it or something.
I think it was the eve of day 5 or something.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
It was the day before Jimmy got his 600th Test wicket. So that was exactly what it was, against Pakistan. It's on the strains of ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding.
And did Aggers take well to being asked to stop? Well, you didn't ask him, did you? No, he didn't have the heart. Fair enough. Yeah. I wouldn't either.
He's graduated though onto a guitar now.
Full guitar?
Yeah.
I look forward to that at some stage. You can serenade me. I'll sing along.
Right then, final over of the game. England 1-4-6 for 9, chasing 1-9-9. This is played in the air, but drops well short of the bowler, running back to collect. Jordan on 25 is on strike. This game is gone, mathematically as well as in terms of, well, really any sense of jeopardy, because England 9 down. There's not really anything that these two are going to do to prove anything to anyone, because Jordan, well, we know what he can do with the bat. Parkinson isn't expected to bat. But for Arshdeep Singh, on debut, he's looking to close things out with the second wicket and deserves one as well. Running in, round the wicket to bowl to Jordan. This is smacked back up the ground and drops just short of the fielder, waiting. Hardik Pandya at long off. That was quite an awkward one, actually, just down below us, because it was one of those you think, do I go forward and try and take the catch? Do I wait and just secure the single?
Depends how much you want to be visiting a cosmetic dentist at 9:30 on a Friday night, or is it Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah, I lose track of days when I'm playing cricket. Yeah, he probably took a sensible decision there, and I think Arshdeep's quite happy as well, because he now gets 4 deliveries at Matt Parkinson to try and take his second T20 international wicket.
Parkinson looks up, right-hander, shirt untucked, and sees a delivery that's signalled wide. I thought it would be. It's quite short and down the leg side. And umpire David Milnes, in his black coat, stretches the arms out. And in some ways, I imagine Matt Parkinson thinks, oh.
Well, no, the only benefit to that is you can't bowl another one at your head.
Yes.
You always tick that one off. If someone ticks that off early in the over to you, you know there's no danger, unless it's going to be a no ball, of it being up around your head again. So just camp on the front foot, put your studs in his forehead and swing away.
Arshdeep bowling to Parkinson, who plays that away into the offside. Is that a catch? I think it might be, and the game is over. It's a low catch at point, and Arshdeep Singh does get a second wicket. Parkinson chasing a wide delivery, and he slaps it away. The catch is taken, Parkinson goes without scoring, and England all out for 148. They have been trounced in this first game. India have won by exactly 50 runs.